to Borg. I don't know why I'm welcoming everybody.
It's
but
gotta be somebody, and I'm glad it's you.
Yeah, I think it's your turn to open up the show.
Yeah. Hi, welcome to Growling Goblin Studios, where we play Borg, a now any-winning hard rock heavy metal TTRPG. I don't remember everything else that we say during the beginning of these.
And when HBO produces a live action show of our stream, then it can also be an Emmy winning.
The EGOT.
Throw that out
there. We
go. Speaking of award winning, I do want to real quick plug, not me, but some other goblins here at Goblins and Growlers. Two of the people who I work with, Goblins and Growlers, two of the people who I work with have submitted we create one-page dungeon compendiums of all the adventures we regularly run for people, from the best ones. And one of ours got submitted to a contest, and hopefully they win, but I'm going to drop it in chat. It is pay what you want. So wherever you're at in your life, if you're looking for a dungeon to run, I also just wanted to plug this because y'all, look at that artwork that was done by our own Sharon Rapp. She's the greatest. So just wanted to, if you guys are looking to run a dungeon like Mörk Borg, we got a one-page dungeon there.
So pretty.
Right? It's unreal. So
it looks like a real illuminated manuscript.
And hopefully that'll be an award-winning dungeon in the near future. I had no hand in creating this, otherwise it would look not as pretty. But I'm very excited for them. So I just wanted to plug that real quick at the top. And also, since it's pay what you want, if any of our watchers are looking to run some games themselves, what better place to start than just with one page, one dungeon. But here we are, Mörk Borg. We are very honored to have you guys here. I'll close my chat so you guys don't have to look at that anymore, and you can look at the amazing players who I'm playing with. I'm Alon, part of Goblins and Growlers, the inclusive community through Tabletop Gaming Collective here in Richmond, Virginia. I'm also the Dungeon Meowster on Instagram for the cat fundraising I do through Dungeons and Dragons, and I'm joined by the greatest ever players of a Mörk Borg live stream game here on Growling Goblin Studios. It's that specific so that I can guarantee that everything I say is true. And we're going to start with Ben.
Oh, hello. Hi, I'm Ben, Drunkle Ben on Instagram and Twitch. I'm in the chat saying hi to people. I do nothing of extreme importance, but tonight I will also be on twitch.tv/thatguysci88 for Nordic Nutrition Hour, where me and my brother Sai will be cooking tonight. So lots of fun, dumb stuff going to happen there. Probably something's going to be lit on fire. What?
Tell them what you're making.
Oh, we're making fondant potatoes, which are my favorite kind of potatoes that I've just recently found out about. And they're absolutely amazing. So stay tuned for that. That's great stuff. But other than that, I post Gunplug on Instagram, and one day I will actually stream on Twitch. And now I'm going to pass it. I'm going to pass it over to Vi. Hopefully I pointed the right way.
Hello, you did. I am Vi. I'm Vi Violet Cosplay on Instagram and Twitter. I think it's Vi Violet Cos on Twitter. But I am a cosplay and costume designer focused on LGBT and people of color inclusion as a POC and big old gay myself. So I've been posting a lot about historical costuming and about like making things. I'm starting a print store and all of that stuff, but I mostly just post about Critical Role and other tabletop gaming, especially through the lens of diversity. So if you wanted to throw me a follow, that's where I hang out and what I have been up to. I'm going to throw it over to Sanji's Closet, which I believe is
me. I don't know. All our Zoom calls look different. Hi, I'm Sanji's Closet, Kim. I cosplay, but also teacher pre-planning has started for the upcoming school year. So I'm also busily preparing for whatever my classroom's going to look like here at the end of August. But that's including right now, kind of shifting the focus of my cosplay page from not only cosplay, but to also using that to create free educational resources for all those kiddos that are going to be learning from home this year. Hopefully help them to be successful. So kind of same thing. If you drop me a follow, if you want to help, that's awesome. Right now I'm trying to put together My Hero Academia themed video about how to learn from home like a pro hero. So
I love that. I absolutely love that so much.
Be on the lookout for that. I also hope that from now on, anytime you guys are using parentheses in your spoken speech, that you do the parentheses around your face. It's how you teach parentheses. It's a stage whisper of punctuation. Yeah, that's what I got going on. Really excited for the upcoming, I don't know if I pointed the correct direction, upcoming collaboration that Goblins and Growlers is actually going to do with my classroom. So that'll be really cool too.
Huzzah!
Yay!
Toss it over to our DM.
Hi everyone, I'm Oz. I'm the Viking Cosplay on Instagram and Twitter. I'm a photographer, artist, cosplayer, designer as of recently. And I actually just launched my portfolio website. It's theviking.myportfolio.com, has all of my drawings and pictures that I take and commission information. And I'm really looking forward to running this game today. This campaign has been so much fun, and now that I can say that I'm running a award-winning game, this game is just so much fun. The people at Mörk Borg are fantastic. And I've just been looking forward to this every week. It's such a highlight.
So from the top, Drunkle Ben's doing some more streaming later today. Make sure that you follow Ben to figure out how to cook the best potatoes that you may never have not known anything about. Vi, I've seen lately, been showing works in progress of all sorts of different costume builds as they roll out everything, all the cool stuff that they're doing. So definitely go and follow them. Sanji's Closet making a transition from Dark Crystal cosplay to, well, more Dark Crystal cosplay, but also educational materials. If that sounds super interesting, follow them. Oz just posted for the first time in a while a cosplay picture, but because lately he's mostly been doing photography, but he does a bunch of both. So if either of those things are interesting to you, follow him. And you are joining us. We're going to be jumping into our Mörk Borg game. We'll give you a quick rundown on our characters and what happened last time so that you're in the same spot. But before that, I just want to let you all remind you that this is a charity game. We are raising for the, I believe, still the NAACP fund. Yes? Awesome. Yes. So any donations that go to the stream, we capture them, and they are donated to that. So we're really grateful for you guys for watching. If you give, we're super grateful. We're just happy to kind of be building this really cool little community and stream together. So Oz is gonna re-tie in on where we're at, and then we'll all kind of give you a quick one-sentence synopsis of who our character is, and we'll jump into it.
Where we last left off, our heroes have returned to Galgenbeck, only to find that Poltroon the Jester has gone missing. His forlorn partner was found crying at the bar. With brief investigations, they heard some news about what had happened, but more information is yet to be found. We also rolled our third and fourth miseries in the last session, and as a quick reminder, at the top of our game, we decided to roll a d6 as our misery die. So every morning in-game, this die is rolled, and if it comes up a 1, some sort of apocalyptic event happens throughout the world as the characters inhabit this continent that is falling apart beneath them. And when 7 miseries are rolled, to quote the Mörk Borg rulebook, the campaign ends, the characters die, the world is over, burn this book. So we're more than halfway there, everyone, which is terrifying because who knows how quickly that could happen.
It's all up to you, bud. You're the one rolling those dice.
Too
so
quickly.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you
can we get
know-
an arbiter over there just to look and make sure that these ones are actually being rolled?
I would like to volunteer Geen,
Yeah.
who's just being real round on the floor right now.
I trust Geen way
Matt.
more than I trust odds.
That's fair.
Matt.
I was actually thinking of, because the first 4 miseries have rolled, and now every morning I want to alternate it between you guys. Leave the fate in your hands.
Oh no, you're gonna make one of us roll the end of the world?
Undo.
Why would you do that?
Undo.
Control Z, Control Z.
I regret. Oz, haven't
I'm
told
just-
you your beard looks really nice today.
Oh, why, thank you. That changes
Welcome.
nothing.
Damn it.
Just hold that one close until he's making an attack roll.
You're right. You're right.
I just this campaign can't end before I get my orange dice in the mail.
Yeah. I'm playing with my Rue dice today too. Rue makes like really cool like inclusion dice. And orange got teeth. Orange got teeth.
Teeth and oranges.
Yes. Do you wanna start explaining the oranges and the teeth?
Yeah, so Orange is my character. Orange is eloquent and loquacious and just the most well-spoken individual that you've ever known who only has one word in his vocabulary. I will let you guess what that word is. He is a fanged deserter, large, terrifying, teeth just everywhere. He wears a mask on his face made of metal that has a beautifully hyper-realistic orange painted right in the center of it. And he also has as many pets as we have party members. A dog, a mule, a rat, and as of last session, a pigeon.
That's right. That's right. Do we have a name for the pigeon?
don't
Orange.
Oh, okay.
yes.
It's got a little hitch in it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Orange.
I'm working on it.
I'll go next. I'm playing Gorm Lawson. Gorm recently was, I don't know, he tried to use some magic to help in a situation he didn't want to be in, and story of Gorm's life, it backfired on him.
I'm sending a message to our group chat because
And he's now unable to drink water. Any water that he takes in immediately makes him reflexively need to throw up and makes him sick. Instead, he now eats ash. That is how he gets his sustenance. So that's really exciting. Gorm as a person is a is always struggling with himself. He has a past that seems shrouded in mystery, but we're starting to learn has resulted in maybe his expulsion from the church, but at the very least some very conscious distancing, as when a church member tried to exercise his ash curse, ended up what was it, just throwing up black bile, like bile.
Yep.
Yeah, like inky substance, and declaring Gorm need to leave. So that's Gorm. He's just figuring it all out, and we'll throw it down to Scrum.
Hi, I play Scrum. Scrum's a gutter-born scum and an escaped orphan whose only best friend is a skull named Bob. He trusts Bob with his life and trusts no one else. And as of last session, he has two doses of goo that he scraped out of a slimy worm thing that was spitting acidic goo at him.
I liked how you're 2 deuces.
Yes.
Deuces.
Two
Gooses.
deuces.
Gooses.
Deuce doses.
All right. So now I'm going to pass it that way.
No.
to me. I play Gilbert the Fool. He is a wretched royal from south of Galgenbeck, all the way over in another kingdom where he was also exorcised from that kingdom. And we learned through a note passed to him via a guard / messenger that the party found to be deceased. A note from his former lover, who is currently trapped in his sword, and will occasionally speak to him in lovely tones, but mostly tells him to stop whatever he is doing. And yet Gilbert is very attached to this sword. So last session, he tried to, be the better man, be the less smarmy person, and help Gorm with his dust ash eating slasher worries, but despite his best interest, did not seem to be able to really help. So right now, I think he is most concerned about finding that missing poltroon, and is feeling a little worse for wear, a little lost in time, losing his final ties to his previous kingdom and his status as a royal. So that's where he is.
And because we haven't seen Poltroon in a couple of streams because we were traveling, Poltroon stayed behind. Poltroon is the companion of
Gilbert.
Sorry, did I interrupt you?
No, I don't know. I was just filling in names.
Oh, perfect.
Sorry.
Yeah, Poltroon is the companion, jester kind of. What would you?
He's like a part bard, part jester, part full-time annoyance.
What's that character in
but loved all the same.
in The Witcher?
Oh, he's Yesker. Absolutely, he's Yesker.
Yeah,
exactly.
And so he was traveling with Gilbert and then with us, and was left behind for in order to try to discover some love life in the beautiful, lovely, and romantic town of Galgenbeck amongst the squalor and.
It's like Paris, really.
Yeah, right. But has since gone missing after we got back. So that's kind of our current situation and predicament, and we'll let Oz put us in the world.
All right. So a quick recap of the miseries that our party has encountered. That's where my paper is. So the 4 miseries that they have rolled in their journey. First being, look to the west, forth comes fire and the horde, and the kingdom burns. The second being, and birds shall fall dead from the sky. The third being, those who walk on 2 legs shall be nameless as the beasts of the field. And the fourth, of those who build mightily stone by stone, so shall they fall stone by stone.
The last one is the hardest for me to grasp what you're gonna do, DM. I am distrusting.
It sounds very vape-nish.
It kind of does, yeah.
Gonna fall stone by stone.
Very vape-nish.
So yeah, where we last left off, you all had rested the night trying to comfort the very worried Greg Slanzig, as named by chat.
Yes.
You stocked up on some rations, and you were going to continue your investigation of the missing poltroon. What do you do?
Was it the beginning of the day or the end of the night?
It was you guys rested because the shops were closed, so you couldn't
Right.
stock up again. So
Okay.
it's mid-morning ish.
I was
Did
making
we
sure that
regain any hit points from resting?
Yes, for resting you regain 1d6 hit points, all of you.
Let's go.
Daddy needs a new pair of shoes.
Perfect. I got exactly as many back as I needed.
Very good.
I don't think
very
I've been
good.
full health since the very first episode. I think it's just been a ebb and
Just a
flow.
downward slope.
Yeah.
Luckily, Orange is quite sturdy.
I'm just grateful I got to get more lard. I was really starting to worry.
Definitely. I was out of rations completely.
I was gonna say I was sweating it a little bit, but I don't think Gorm sweats. I think.
He glistens.
Yeah.
All right. So, I would assume that we are still in the market.
Yes.
And please remind me if Mr. Lanzig was with us.
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Greg Slanzig was with you guys.
I think isn't it Greg S. Lanzig?
Was it S Lanzig? I thought it was Slanzig.
I'm just trying to yes and Vi.
Greg S. Lanzig. Mr. Lanzig, if you don't mind dancing your way over here, and would you tell us, is there any place in the city that you guys would have gone the night before everything happened? Like, did you guys go out on a date? Did you leave your homes? Did you practice safe social distancing?
Well, we went back to the tavern where we met. It's a great place to get a good drink and a good meal. It's nice and generally quiet. Then after that, we went back to my apartment.
All right. Well, I don't need any more details about that there. I'm trying to figure out where to look first, you guys. Poltroon's never. This is the first time that we left him out on his own, and I figured he was pretty safe with this individual. And Gilbert kind of like looks over at Greg distrustfully.
Now, Ernj, at the hostel, you did overhear people talking about weird folks walking around, but you did scare them away by just walking up and repeatedly saying Ernj.
I can't remember. They had a specific description for the weird people, right?
It was
Like in hooded
Yes.
robes or something.
Yeah, hooded robes walking around throughout the town.
So if I scan the marketplace, do I see any weird people in hooded robes right now?
So in the marketplace, no, you do not see anyone who fits that description.
Okay. Well, I do want to make sure that Gilbert knows about this. So Ernj is gonna walk over to Gilbert and like put a giant hand on his shoulder and just fill him in on all of this with a sort of low Ernj.
Thank you, Ernj. I appreciate it. And he kind of like rubs his shoulder, like where you initially kind of clapped him on the back. He's getting used to it. Do you all think that it's worth it to just sort of walk through town and see if we can find any of these guys?
Any of who what?
Oh, so as Ernj clearly articulated, I'm sorry, I forget sometimes that not everyone speaks as many languages as I do. So it seems that there are some hooded figures that may have been around, and I know that you all were there when I sent that letter back to our friend at the schoolhouse, letting him know that we were sort of being pursued. But I think it might be good to look for some of these individuals and just sort of give them the what for, see if we can size any of them up, and see if we can maybe follow them back to wherever they might be.
Do you think they might have gotten your piece of mail that you were sending?
I'm hoping not. I mean, hopefully the Raven flew in the correct direction and we could, get it at least in that general direction. Not sure what's going on with the birds around here. And he kind of like walks up to one of the birds that's laying on the ground and like nudges it with his toe.
It's very much a dead bird. Doesn't move.
Ernj pets the pigeon on his shoulder.
The early bird gets the bird.
I'm afraid that if we're not an early bird trying to find Poltroon, that he's going to be lost to all time, as things tend to be. just worried about him all out in the cold, you know. Don't tell him this, but I'm fond of the fellow.
You look over, you can see Greg S. Lanzig tearing up a little bit, a smile on his face. Just
Don't
kinda
be
tearing
such a
up.
misfit, Greg.
He
I
wiped
tried.
away one of the tears on his eye and said, "He's such a good person."
He's all right. I'm glad that we left him with you, but I just wish that we had a better lead than this. There's no other details. There's nothing else that you could possibly let us know to find this guy at all.
I don't know. After a night of drinking and having fun, I was sound asleep and just didn't hear anything that would have happened. When I woke up, he was gone.
Heavy sleeper. Basically.
Yeah.
Likely story.
Where?
Do you not trust him, Scrum?
He just looks up at you, eyes wide, eyes watering.
Where do hooded figures gather in this city? Is it something that happens a lot? Is it rare?
I'm not sure. I don't really think I've seen many people like that around here before.
Gorm just we're in the marketplace, so Gorm just like grabs a random person and is just like, where do hooded figures gather?
This guy just like looks at you in horror as you shake him, and he's just like, I don't know, man, I don't know.
Is it common? Is it rare? Have you seen hooded figures?
Look, man, hoods are in fashion this year.
God dang it, fashion.
Curse those Parisian looks.
Gorm
The
turns
things
to the
we'll
party
do.
and he's just like, fashion is working against us. These people who obey fashion must be called fascists. We should stop them.
I think that's very noble of you, being directly anti-fascist during this time. Is something that we need to take action on. Gilbert kind of like stops and thinks for a second and is like, I hate to point you back to a church, guys, since we've just been striking out over and over and over again. But it seems like this history organization and these symbols are all connected, and the only place that I can think that a hooded figure would be in this town would be like a monk or something.
Orange just kind of nods,
I mean,
still petting the pigeon.
you guys met Poltroon. Like, he traveled with us for days. I think that I think there's something to be said for giving a shit and trying to get him back here. Like, I know that you guys don't know me very well, and I know that you guys don't particularly have too much invested other than the whole staying alive thing, especially as the world's falling down around us. But like, this is an innocent person and a good person, and I think that it's worth it to try and exhaust all options to get him. Especially if he's a traveling partner and a companion of ours.
Yeah,
We can't leave him alone again. I think we need to do something. And I'd hate to spend any more time in churches, especially with Gorm's whole thing. I don't want to drag you anywhere that you don't want to go. I'm just
Gilbert,
feeling like I'm out of options.
you did everything you could to try to. As Gorm is saying this, he's like fishing around in his jacket and he pulls out like a little like pouch of ashes and he's just taking the ashes and he's kind of like, I guess just. You did everything you could to try to fix me when I was having a difficult time. I thought I was gonna die. And sorry, drinking ashes, I'm still working it out, but while it didn't work out, you did everything you could. I'm gonna be here to help you to try to find Poltroon. And while I don't think it's gonna work out, I'll do everything I can.
Yeah, just like a
Oh.
peace sign.
I appreciate you, even if it's a little cynical. The honesty's a little cynical, but your honesty means a lot to me. Thank you.
Yeah, he's probably dead, but I hope he isn't.
I also think he's probably dead, just based on the state of the world, but we can hope. Maybe there's some fun remains. Maybe I'll learn to play the lute.
Greg at this point is just sobbing.
Orange suddenly remembers the like, was it a warehouse or something similar where they fought the guy that was sent to kill Gilbert?
Yeah.
And he's just like, you see the I don't know, candlelight over his head. So, Orange, and he grabs Gilbert's shoulders and he's like,
What? Yeah.
the warehouse, Orange.
Oh, okay. All right. We can go back there. We can go. Do you guys want to go to that warehouse where we left that gentleman taking a nap? And kind of winks as to not say that he's committed a murder in the middle of a marketplace.
You mean that assassin that tried to kill us that we ended up decapitating and feeding to Orange's dog?
Hey! We didn't kill him. He killed himself. He did the thing with the neck and just.
Oh yeah,
remember?
That's right.
Remember?
Yes.
That's pretty gruesome.
An
There's blood
unfortunate
everywhere.
circumstance led to his early untimely demise. But yes, exactly the one that you were.
Orange's dog wags its tail.
Like pats his head a little bit, like, good boy, will you lead the way?
What?
And kind of like does one of these.
It just responds. I'd imagine that Orange's dog probably responds to that, similar to the dogs in Breath of the Wild. It just wags its tail and rolls over onto its back, and you're like, where is the prize?
Where is the child? Which well?
Yeah.
Lassie, come on. Well, I guess that we should probably at least start there. That's a good starting point. Thank you, Orange. Thank you so much. Gilbert kind of looks pityingly at Mr. Slanzig,
Who is just like trying to catch his breath after crying at the thought of Poltroon being dead and the thought of finding some fun remains and the other statements that were said about Poltroon.
Wait, isn't Poltroon's loot in your room? Isn't it in his room?
Yeah, it's still there. All of his things are still there.
If the worst comes to pass, we will leave all of those things with you to do with as you wish.
Thank you.
Only if the worst comes to pass, I promise.
And he looks at you, his eyes just watering with tears, and just wipes them away, trying to compose himself.
Yeah, because I'm sure if he's still alive, he's probably going to want that stuff back.
That's true. And we're hoping to find him alive.
Oh yeah,
Hoping.
yeah, definitely.
For sure. For sure.
Scrum
All
shreds.
right. Let's do it, guys. And
All
Gilbert
right.
kind of looks down for that dog to lead the way.
So you guys start heading back towards the east side of town where those old abandoned stables and warehouses were. It takes you guys a while to walk from the center of town back over there. You see the general sights that you see through Galgenbeck. Except that this time a lot more dead birds around. A lot of the homeless people and scavengers in the streets have just taken to scrounging up the dead birds and cooking them and eating them.
Orange takes his pigeon off of his shoulder and holds it and covers its eyes.
We gotta buy one of those like hunting hawk caps.
Yeah, especially because it's like kind of weird to feel like pigeons are real stupid. So like its wet eyes are just open and pressed against Orange's palm. Is it just kind of
Do you want to give us a sound effect to really just immerse us in that?
no?
Can I get a wet eyeball sound on that soundboard, please?
Just like that thing where when you put your hand over a pet's eyes and the pet doesn't blink for whatever reason. Just that feeling.
All right, hold the presses. That's never happened to me.
You don't have a chihuahua.
Never. Oh God.
You clearly have a cat. They're
I
smart
do.
enough to close their eyes.
Oh, okay.
All right.
Alrighty.
Oh man.
Well then. And so you guys start walking through the like lower part of town, where you stayed, at the hostel and close to where Greg's apartment is. And after a little while, you guys make it to the abandoned stables and warehouses on the east side of town.
All right. Stepping up sort of to that like little back corner where we left the first assassin's body, or whatever juicy little tidbits were left by the puppy over here. What do we see? Are there signs of life?
So you certainly smell it before you see it. The rotting, eaten body of this guy who was killed about 2 weeks ago at this point. So it's pretty ripe, gotta say. As you enter into the old warehouse, rats and insects scurry about. Small critters on the ground go back into the old hay bales scattered around. And as you approach the back of the room, you see the pile of hay that was put on top of the dead body.
Orange's dog goes and rolls in it.
Yeah, and immediately you just hear the sound of just rolling in soft, rotting flesh. The hay pile is mostly stained red at this point. As your dog rolls around, more rats and small critters scatter out from underneath the hay.
Are there any like footprints or like processionary looking trails where hooded figures may have been traipsing about?
So looking around, you do not see any distinct footprints. Looks like this place is abandoned other than the critters that have been chewing on the corpse for the past 2 weeks.
Orange at this, he's gonna kind of snap his fingers to get his dog's attention, and then he's gonna go and like peek into the other stables and warehouses surrounding.
So all of them are in a very similar state of just being dilapidated, the roofs collapsing, a lot of the pillars just rotting, doors broken, rotting away. Just old stale hay, none of it fresh or anything. Not maintained, small critters running around or dispersing into the shadows. A very similar sight, just with significantly fewer human corpses in it.
No sign of anyone being around or symbols.
Nothing that stands out of the ordinary.
Are there any symbols or markings that do seem ordinary?
Well, there is the mostly consumed corpse of the man. Not much of him remains, just small scraps of flesh, and you can see the remnants of the brand on his rotting skin on his torso if you dig around. But no, nothing else really.
Will you remind us what the brand like looks like?
Yeah, it was the crescent moon with elk antlers coming out of it.
Right.
Which was found in Poltroon's shoe in the apartment. Perfect, Alon.
Beautiful. Perfect.
You just need to like make the crescent moon with your body. And there you go.
And then I know that we did some reading at one point, but I unfortunately don't freaking have it in my notes. What organization does this seem to belong to?
So, a very similar symbol used to belong to the cult of Necrubal, which was a full moon with antlers behind it instead of coming out of the crescent moon. And from what Glenn has told you, it seems that this symbol comes from a similar ideology, like almost a rebirthing of this long forgotten cult. And the original cult of Necrubal, they believed that it was their job to raise that god and cause the end of the world before it ended on itself.
Oh,
No other Necrubal symbols painted anywhere around here?
there's
There
no
are not.
antlers at all.
No.
Just like thinking about all of the locations that they've been in the last week, I think that Gilbert's going to crouch down in front of this body and kind of like take a knee, and like reach out his hand and like trace over this brand
Okay.
with his fingertips. What if we're supposed to wait? What if we're supposed to take the information that we find and we're supposed to find the components of this symbol, or we're supposed to wait until one of them shows up and we get the jump on them? Because if there's a hit out on me or any of us or all of us, maybe we just have to wait until one of them shows up.
Or maybe we put you in a very public place. So then they'll know where you are and try to make something happen.
Do you guys think that you can capture someone if I am going to be the poltroon this time?
Orange like gets this really toothy grin, and he's just like, Orange.
I can always count on you, Orange. Where would we do something like this? Is this like a city square sort of living statue type of situation? Because I can Amanda Palmer wherever I need to.
We can who now?
Town square, like a very interesting performer person, or used to be anyway. Probably could do a center of town situation. I mean, they found Poltroon at the location of the best ale in the world, so we could probably go back and drink a little bit, just a little bit, of the best ale in the world and wait for them to sort of come back, because I would assume that if they were looking, they wouldn't be looking just for Poltroon, they might be looking for all of us.
I think like the assassin was coming after you, and because I mean, not to speak for Orange and Scrum, but I'm just a guy. I don't, I don't really have too much to run from. Most of the people who want me dead are dead. Not because I killed them, just because, that's what happens in this world.
That's true. That's very true. No, unfortunately, most of the people that want me dead are very much alive.
So I think if you just make a really public scene, they probably were after Poltroon to find you.
Probably. Well,
I'd say they were pretty successful.
in the finding me?
Well, sort of.
Yeah. Successful enough. Thankfully, we were just sort of out of town. The vacation responder went up. We weren't.
They were pretty sort of successful.
Well, Do you pretty sort of mostly successful?
Yeah.
Halfway there. Do you think we can more than halfway kidnap them?
We could probably do 3/5.
Okay, all right. That's a good time signature. I think it might be time to pick up the old loot. Pull a poltroon. Yeah, that sounds like a fine plan. And Gilbert kind of like uncomfortably shifts in his lack of coat and kind of covers up his arms because he now is missing a bunch of his clothing and has never felt more exposed. So I guess we're going back to town.
Yeah, heading back to like town center.
Yeah. We'll just kind of keep waiting. I think on the way, if that's what we're gonna do, I think on the way it would be probably a good idea to start looking for individuals that may be hooded.
All right. So you guys are heading back towards the center of town, just kind of keeping an eye out, looking around and everything. And as you guys are walking through the like kind of slummy part of town where Greg's apartment was and the actual best ale in Galgenbeck, um, you hear like some whispering amongst people that are just hanging out in the streets and the alleyways, and just people are talking about just like, yeah, those people that we saw the other day. What was with that? Sure, I've seen them around a couple of times before, but I'm just not sure. I don't know what's happening. Well, we can only hope that they won't come back. And just all sorts of whispers seeming to be about a similar topic of odd occurrences and odd people.
Would Scrum be able to pick up on that?
Yeah, certainly.
All right, cool. So very publicly and loudly, Scrum will just be like, "So Gilbert, that one guy, that was a pretty crazy lake we fell into, huh? Right, Gilbert?"
Yes, that was a pretty crazy lake that we fell into for sure. I swam pretty far right into the middle of it. Yeah.
Yeah, totally. And while Scrum is doing that, he's going to be looking around to see if it's drawing any attention from.
So a lot of people are kind of like looking at you crooked and like they go back to their whispering, but like covering themselves up or like going into the alleyways and things like that. But one person in particular, like kind of looks over your way, peeks up from their conversation, and kind of like cautiously approaches you 4 or 5. Greg is there.
Picking up what Scrum's doing, but not realizing that somebody is approaching or even looking around. Gorm is like, "Oh yeah, it's it's so exciting to be traveling with Gilbert, who is royalty of some sort and has some type of title, I believe, attached to him."
Yes,
Ernge
I
is
am.
also joining in, but he's literally just yelling Ernge.
Ernge. Gilbert is like, yes, my knightdom, my wonderful sirdom, Sir Gilbert, in fact. Yes. What does this individual look like?
So this guy is like a very square jaw. Face looks like it's kind of been worse for wear for a while. Long hair, kind of like a dirty blonde. And he says, "You guys maybe shouldn't be talking about that kind of thing out here."
Hi, sir. What's your name?
Call me Kiko.
Kiko? Nice to meet you, Kiko. Why shouldn't we be talking? I mean, this is free and open air. I'm not sure if there was something that we should be hiding.
And he says, "Look, you're free to talk, just trying to lend a hand. People are often looking for any sort of change they can scavenge in these parts, and talking about things like that, all high and mighty, might not be a good idea."
Things like what?
No, you're talking about your Sir Gilbert, your Sirdom. But before that, you were talking about strange things. Where y'all come from? And he looks around, and you notice that like more people are like kind of paying attention to you, and like kind of hushing their whispers and keep on glancing back over in your direction.
Kiko, you're asking a lot of questions for somebody who says we're not supposed to be talking about ourselves.
I just don't want anyone else to get hurt.
Anyone else? Who's gotten hurt?
Look, he looks around as more people are like staring, and some people are like kind of coming out of the alleyways looking your way. And he's like, follow me someplace not as public.
Lead the way.
And he starts walking, and he walks towards the best ale in Galgenbeck.
Actually, best ale or the best ale?
No, the best ale in Galgenbeck.
Okay.
Right across the street from actually the best ale in Galgenbeck.
Same direction.
Yeah. And he holds open the door for you guys and says, here, no one should care what we talk about in here.
Gilbert's gonna walk in, but he's going to unclip both of his swords from his belt.
Okay.
And he's gonna like hold them up in one hand and like put them on the table right in front of him, and then kind of like settle back with a big man spread,
Perfect.
waiting for this guy to start talking.
So this bar is pretty bustling. It's like shortly afternoon right now after all of your walking and investigating. So like people are just like being rowdy, talking amongst themselves. They're not really paying you any mind. People have taken to the glass breaking game that Gorm had started weeks prior. Much to the bartender's dismay, but they seem to have developed a point system for it, and it's very loud and rowdy. And so Kiko looks around, just making sure that no one's really paying any attention. It's like, for a while now, there have been groups of people in these hooded robes coming around, sometimes in this part of town, sometimes down to the south. But it's been a couple of weeks since they showed up, except for just the other day.
Very interesting that you mentioned that, Kiko. It's particularly interesting considering that you didn't seem to be here last week when we were looking for exactly the same thing. So if you don't mind telling us a little bit about yourself, where are you from?
I'm from here in Galgenbeck.
You've just been here this whole time.
There are lots of people in this town.
You didn't seem to be hanging out in this bar in particular or anything near us in the last few weeks since we all made it here.
You guys have only been here for like a day now. You were gone for like 2 weeks and only rested overnight after you arrived.
Yeah, Gorm looks back.
I'm intimidating this guy.
Yeah, Gorm looks at Gilbert and then at Kiko, and then he like takes the candle that's lit above Ernge's head and he puts it above his own head, and he walks over. He starts.
Ernge is like.
He starts walking towards the bar and he's like, Kiko, you're a great, awesome, beautiful lad. We appreciate the information. Can I get you a beer? Would you like two?
One doesn't sound bad for now.
I'll put that other one on hold. And he walks over and he gets the beer and he's like, look, Kiko, I trust you. And he gives him the beer. He has another beer. He's like, well, actually, do I have enough money for that? How much?
That'll be a silver.
What is it?
A silver.
I'm out of money now. We're good. I was fine. So Gorm throws his last couple of silvers to get the beer, and he brings one back. And on his way back to the table, he looks at the rest of the party. He's like, I don't have any more money. So he just gives Kiko the beer. He's like, you didn't bring any more over. And he's like, look, Kiko, we believe you. I love you. I'm so happy you're sharing information with us. Would you like some ash? Would you like? Okay, no, it's
good
fine.
Without.
So, here's the thing, Kiko. I, the rest of my companions, they've had hard times. They're not necessarily as trusting as good people like you and I. And we're just trying to get down to the bottom. We have a friend who went missing,
yesterday. By friend, I mean it's more of his friend. It's just an acquaintance to me. I don't really care what happens to him, except for the fact that I like this person. So we're trying our best to figure out where these hooded figures are going, because it seems like they're taking people. Have you heard of other people that they've taken?
I've been trying to keep tabs on them when they show up. Try not to get too close. They've been seen around a couple of times taking children away. And then after, as I said, it's been a while since they showed up. Until, just yesterday. That's why I wanted to take you guys away from there. I'm not sure if they're still hanging around listening for someone else to take. I don't know who they're targeting. But after they came around the slums there, they were carrying someone else out of there. And I followed them for a little bit to see if they would say anything, and they don't seem to be too smart from what I could gather.
Did you see what the person they were carrying looks like?
Shoved in a bag, I could only see some feet.
Nah, bag person.
Were those
Got
feet?
it.
Wait, were those feet not wearing shoes?
Nah, bare feet. Not uncommon in this part of town, but it happens.
Weren't Poltroon's shoes left in his room?
Because that's what the little like patch was in his shoes.
There were two of them there. When I followed them, just listening to them talk a little bit. One of them said to the other something about leaving something behind. One said, they got to know who we are. Spread master's word. Something along those lines. That same one said, should we stop and get anyone else for him? First one responded with, nah, we got to get back to the king. If we don't hurry, might be too late.
Could you lead us to the last place you saw them?
I stopped following them at the western gate of town. They were moving generally quietly, keeping to the shadows, moving faster than I could keep up with.
Did they go outside the gate?
Yeah, they left out there. I didn't want to traverse out there in the darkness.
Isn't there a gate guard on duty every night?
They don't do so much around here.
Is the gate a way out of town? Did they seem to be leaving or is that like a gate into a different section of the city?
They were leaving outside of the town.
Right. You said west.
Yep.
Right. Well, I think we might have got off on the wrong foot. I'm very sorry. And Gilbert kind of like reaches into his pocket and like hands Gorm 10 silver in a little bag and goes, would you mind getting us beers for the rest of the table, please?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Thank you so much for those two. They're on me. You keep that. Do you mind leading us at all into these towards that gate? And just, is there you said that they were trying to get back to the king. Did they mention anything else about any other royalty or any other words that you might have picked up other than spread this master's word? I'm interested if they were talking about the king and a master in the same context or not.
It was hard to follow them. When they stuck to the shadows, they moved so quickly. I would only get snippets of their conversations.
I have one last question. Was there any reason that you would believe that they wouldn't be human?
I'm not sure. The way that they talked, the way that they moved outside of the shadows seemed perfectly normal. But then into that darkness, it was just strange.
Strange in what way?
They almost seemed as if to move faster when the street lights weren't hitting them, when the moonlight wasn't touching them.
That's good to know. Thank you very much.
It was strange how much they seemed focused on that person in particular. Sounded important for something, just from what I could tell, but yet again, it was only bits and pieces.
Right. So you don't think this was like a random kidnapping? It was somebody intentional.
That's what it sounded like.
Right. I'm really worried about Poltrine, guys. But it sounds like he's alive.
Orange pats Gilbert on the shoulder.
Oh boy. Well, do you mind leading us in that direction? Guys, I'm afraid that we're walking into a little bit of a fight here if we find them on the road. But I also have I have a feeling that this king that they speak of is somebody that I had some nasty business with.
Did you poop on his floor? I've done that before. People don't like that.
I might as well have, but no, people tend to not like that.
Kiko shakes his head and says, oh, pooping on a king's floor is one way to piss someone off.
Definitely.
Orange takes the rat off the shoulder that the pigeon isn't on, and he puts it on Gilbert's shoulder to comfort him. He just pats Gilbert's head.
Gilbert kind of takes the rat and like makes sure that his little tail is like wrapped around his neck.
Good.
in a comforting fashion, and kind of like sits there and like does one of these.
Does the pigeon poop on the floor?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm pretty sure that Orange has like some white streaks down his back at this point. We know how pigeons are.
God, blanking on the wizard from Lord of the Rings.
Gandalf?
No, the druid one.
Oh, from The Hobbit.
Yeah. Blanking on his name completely, but that's okay. We all get the point, probably. So yeah, you guys like finish off your drinks, and Kiko kind of shakes his head and says, "Been so concerned making sure that everyone's all right. I never caught your names."
Oh, my name is Gilbert. I believe that the gentleman that you saw getting kidnapped was Poltroon, who is my my former confidant and bard that would follow me around.
Radagast. Thank you, Tim.
Well done.
Tim, yet again, being the MVP.
Was he the brown? But he had all the.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Radagast the
I
Brown.
never saw the Hobbit movies, but
He was the one with
fine.
the eagles.
The first one is the only one worth watching.
I loved the books.
Yeah.
Book.
I loved the book. Yeah. Radagast is the one that has the eagles in the Lord of the Rings movies.
Love it.
Yeah.
My name's Gorm. I bought you a beer.
And I appreciate it. He raises his glass.
And Gorm raises his glass and then smashes it on the floor.
The crowd cheers. They all go, Orange!
Orange!
Absolutely beautiful. That is Orange. Why don't you introduce yourself now that we know that you're such a trendsetter?
Orange.
He kind of looks confused. and
Orange.
just
Nothing
slowly
else.
Nods his head.
Orange. Orange points to his pets and introduces each of them as well.
Well, now you have to give the introductions.
Oh, okay. Points to the rat on Gilbert's shoulder. I gotta look at my notes. He's like, Orange. He points to the dog and he goes, Orange. He points to the mule that's standing like in the doorway,
Just
blocking
kinda
people
peeking his
getting
head.
yeah, blocking people getting in and out. He's like, Orange. Or Orange. There we go. And he points to the pigeon on his shoulder. He's like, orange.
All right.
It's just completely like, After like the second animal, he's like, oh.
Scrum will
Points to
look at the man.
Gilbert. Orange.
Scrum looks at him kind of distrustfully and goes, "The name's Gustavo. Gustavo Petri Dish."
It's nice to meet all of you. And who's the crying lad?
That's
Oh, that's Bob, Gestapo's companion.
All right. Well,
Scrum just glares over at Gorm and shakes his head.
There's like a little bit from where Gorm had smashed his beer glass on the floor. A little bit of the remnants of beer had gotten onto Bob's like skull face, and it looked like he was crying. Keen.
She's here.
Yes.
Best cat, best cat.
Be careful, don't let Zarko hear you.
If I say second best cat, though, like that can mean anyone's cat is best cat. Except for Geen. But
Freaking.
Geen is the last cat I've interacted with, so Geen is best cat.
If you're not nice to Zarko, then the wild
No.
pussycats are gonna get it.
Not best cat.
Hey,
Now will be best cat.
I love that
Zarko
Zarko
will
doesn't go
find
after
you.
Score Bunny.
So
My work.
we introduced ourselves.
Yeah. Today says, well, if we're all done here, I guess I can show you the way to the west gate where I saw him.
Yeah, if you don't mind.
Of course, no problem at all. And not sure how long y'all have been in here, but especially when you're on the east part of town, just be careful about flaunting your wealth around. People might go to any means to try to get it.
I'll do my best. Thank you for the pointer. At least we found somebody who seemed to know what was happening. This is a lead that we haven't had, so thank you.
He just kind of nods his head, of course. He gets up, kind of dusts himself off from splashed beer and glass. He starts leading the way to you guys, pretty much walking to the opposite side of town. And after a while, you guys start to get to the western part of town. And as you get closer to the... Oh, what was that?
As we are walking, I think I'm going to let this gentleman kind of take the lead a little bit and kind of pull the group back and go, so guys, I haven't been entirely honest with you in a lot of ways. But
That's fine. I've been lying to all of you this whole time.
About your name?
I knew your name
we'll
was
get
really
to that.
Gestapo.
Gestapo or Gustavo?
Yes.
With a V
Gazpacho.
for victory.
Gazpacho? Is Bob his real name? Give us the answers.
So many mysteries.
Bob is his real name.
Okay, at least there's one truth in this. So if they were taking Poltroon to the Western Kingdom, then I'm afraid that the king might be looking for some reparations. The whole reason that I was sent here and the reason that I met you guys was because in the Western Kingdom, I kind of had to make a run for it. Kind of had to leave just because I met some people. I met this guy, and Gilbert kind of pats his sword, and he might have been kind of important, and I might have stolen a lot of money from this king guy, and he might be looking for me. Really sorry. Hate to wrap you guys up in this. But sometimes assassins steal your only friend that you have left. And that's cool. So, if it's the Western Kingdom, then it's my fault. Gilbert
Orange
kind
just-
of like puts his swords back on his belt as he's walking.
Orange just kind of nods, gives Gilbert a pat on the shoulder. Then he pats the sword.
Does the sword like react at all to this sort of story? Is there any commentary? Because I assume that he can hear everything.
So the sword responds with, "Sir, I hope we won't be met with any ill fate, but I don't know what lies out there. I fear that it very well might be the king."
Well, I can tell you what lies out there. It's apparently Scrum. You're just giving fake names to us all the time.
Yeah, what is with that?
I'm gonna
I
keep.
just don't trust that guy. No, my name is Scrum.
Oh,
But-
okay, good.
Right.
I just don't trust that guy.
Do you think we should investigate for tattoos, maybe? Maybe he has this weird symbol on him and he's actually just leading us into a trap. Maybe the trappers have become the trapeze.
Hmm.
Do you want me to tackle him? I could
No,
totally do that.
Let me try.
Orange just walks over to the guy and he grabs him.
Huh?
And he like pulls up his shirt to show his chest where the tattoo was.
So you pull up his shirt, and while not seeing a tattoo like the ones you've seen before of the brand, he does have a similar mark that some of you might recognize. Up his spine, he has a thick black mark from his hips down to just on his spine, all the way up the back.
Where would we recognize that from? I don't remember.
Oh shit, guys, he's the Avatar.
It's an arrow. Points.
Wait, doesn't
Watch that language.
doesn't Gorm have something similar?
Similar?
The guy
Yeah,
had
Gorm has
a,
one that has a base on it, and then a
A long black.
big black
up his back.
line that goes all the way up to the top.
It was the
Is it the
Avatar.
same or is it without the base part?
It looks pretty much the same.
Yeah. So while this man is, I guess, struggling in the classic shirt over the head fashion of comedy that we, commonly try to lean into for this stream,
The
Gorm,
classic Beavis and Butthead, yeah.
Gorm is like, well, it seems I'm not the only one.
And kind of he adjusts his shirt and kind of breaks away from Orange and turns and says, "Wait, what?"
And Gorm is like, what's the name of is it Hero Fit? Is that the group that you work with regularly?
Yeah.
Gorm, of course, takes his Hero Fit shirt that he's wearing, that regularly collaborates with the Viking cosplay, and pulls it off to reveal just the muscled body of somebody who is Hero Fit. And Gorm turns, and you can tell he kind of probably skips his back a little bit. His upper back just not as defined as his abs. You can tell he's more of like a mirror selfie kind of.
Of course, yeah.
Yeah. But so Gorm does that, and he turns around, and you can see and he has the exact same symbol. He shows it to him, and he goes, "I too am marked."
And he kind of like hushed and says, "Put your shirt back on. Don't let anyone see."
Why?
Is it because I'm ripped and Hero Fit? I understand people are jealous, but if you follow the Viking cosplay, you can get hero fitness tips yourself.
Guys, follow HeroFit.apparel on Instagram. It's a Florida-run company, and the guy behind it is a good friend of mine, and he's fantastic. Anyway,
Oh my God.
He is a good guy.
anyway, he says
Is being hero fit an incredible secret?
the church doesn't want people to know about 8-pack abs that strong. If they found out that doing so many lat pull downs could give you wings, they'd clip them and watch you fall.
You're about to what?
Okay, but seriously, this town is run by the church. They don't like, well, I guess people like us. If they find out that we're marked, then they're not going to let us around here anymore.
I mean, we've already been into the church with Gorm. Gorm are is that something you knew you should keep hidden?
Yeah, you know, they banished me from birth because I was marked like that. I'm pretty much whenever I get too cozy in a place, evil always finds me and destroys everything and kills most people.
Kills everybody around you, like without abandon, or like a great equalizer sort of situation, or is
You know,
it
it's
like
always
people that
different.
you know?
It's always
Right.
yeah. It's never anything consistent. But apparently, that's all chalked up to being born with this very
Bless you.
very fashionable mark that I share with. I'm sorry, I completely forgot your name.
Kiko.
So,
Kiko.
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 Well, I mean, there's 100 ways for us to die in this world, so that doesn't surprise me whatsoever.
Yeah, it's called the Mark of the
There are more
Gallows,
than
and I expected that I was gonna get hung that one time, or that other
Right.
time, or the third time when I was with you guys, and that was gonna be kind of it. But
Well, third time seemed to
Good
not
times,
be
guys.
the charm. Yeah, good times. Good
There's-
times.
pretty charming. I got to meet some friends, acquaintances,
Yeah,
business partners.
yeah. Kiko, has that happened to you?
I'm generally pretty good at keeping low, not getting involved, but I knew that just being here in Galgenbeck would probably be the death of me, but so is the rest of the world.
Fair. You know, we all have just such bleak outlooks. I wonder if being hero fit might really help us with the self-transformation, some self-actualization, you know?
Well, I can tell you from experience that it hasn't helped my outlook at all, but it has helped my outlook, if you know what I mean.
I know exactly what you mean. You're looking pretty shredded, not gonna lie.
If we ever get like some sort of sponsorship for the show, then it'll just be like, Gorm, how do you remain so beautiful? Well, I sleep on my purple pillow every night.
Right? It's built in. It's built in.
And I wouldn't be able to travel all across this land if it weren't for my super comfortable MeUndies.
Yeah, with the power
Fire
of my
match-
Casper mattress.
Fire matching Morkborg MeUndies for the entire team.
Mm-hmm.
You know what will really transform your outlook on life? Boulder Brand
We're
sheets.
talking about-
Have you heard of Audible?
You know,
How
on
about
these long
Florida
journeys, we
orange
don't have time to
juice?
cook for ourselves.
Oh my God! If Florida Oranges sponsored us,
Hey, at Cuties brand Clementines.
Well, Kiko,
We
I
will change Orange's name to Clementine.
Perfect.
Kiko, I can't for the life of me think of what could go wrong for two people marked with the Mark of the Gallows traveling together.
Stronger as a team, I suppose.
But I'm glad that
There's
we're
always
Don't die.
There's always some kind of strength in numbers, I think. At least with all of us. I mean, we all somehow escaped those gallows that one day. It was my first time, so like, nice to have a veteran on the
First
team.
time.
First time.
Well, we're almost
so-
to the gates. And
You
if
said
it's
that-
true they're out in Wasteland, then it'll be southwest past Schleswig.
I do think that they just kept going.
I don't know. As I said, just trying to keep up with them and track their conversation. I just heard bits and pieces of them making it back to Wasteland.
Right. So it doesn't seem like they were from anywhere but there. Right.
Is what I could gather.
Well, that's where I'm from, so it feels like my suspicions were correct.
You've come a long way.
Yeah, I thought I'd never have to go back, honestly. But I guess it looks like we might have to if we want to get Poltroon.
Well, I wish you the best of luck.
You didn't want to come along for the ride? I mean, I don't have any money to offer you, but if we do make it there, then we might be able to pilfer something on the way back.
I've never been outside of these city walls. And I'm not sure what awaits for me being someone who's marked out there. I've been safe inside this city, and I kind of don't want to press my luck. I've made it this far. But I'll be here for you when you get back.
Right. Is Slanzig with us?
Yeah, he's been like trailing behind, moping behind.
What about you? Do you have any fighting skill? Any reason that you'd want to?
And he's like, I've never fought anyone ever.
All right, crybaby.
Yeah, it
It's
looks like that.
gonna be okay. Ooh,
Oof.
I understand if you want to stay here, but I'll do my best to bring Poltroon back.
Please.
Since all these wonderful fellow Gallows kids decided that it was a good idea to maybe try and help. Guess we're gonna go meet
Ooh, is that our,
Yeah.
our group name, the Gallows Kids?
the
Ooh,
Gallows kids. I
Aw.
kind of dig that, actually.
Okay. I'm here for the Gallows Kids.
I'm also here for the Gallows kids.
The catchphrase is, "Do you come here often?"
No,
Or
the
it's- or
catchphrase
First
is "Come
time.
hang with us."
We're all hanging out. Yeah.
Yes.
That's so good. Oh my god. And it's born. It was born. We knew it was gonna happen, like during the campaign.
Hang on, I'm gonna change our Discord name now to the Gallows Kids.
Yeah, it's good.
We're the Gallows Kids.
What are y'all up
Well-
to? You know, just hanging out.
Just hanging out.
I like that it
You
works
know.
with
Party
like
has a
gallows
name. You guys
humor
will get
too.
one. So
There's
fun.
a
Yeah, right.
I mean, it could be worse. We could be swingers.
I was just gonna say, as a LGBT inclusive space, the Gallows Kids swing both ways.
Yeah. All right. Well,
on
I guess
that
we're
note,
going home.
good pause now.
yeah. Yeah. good
Yeah, I
pause
think
now.
that now is a good point to go and take our fiver. So to everyone tuning in, thank you all so much for the subscribes and for the follows and everything.
Yes.
We are halfway through this episode, and we are going to take a quick 5-minute break and be back at 5:30
Barb.
Heck yeah.
and see what adventures await.
you soon, guys.
BRB. Hello.
Howdy.
How's it going?
It's going all right. I'm drinking this cold brew that I made. That is a mix of apple strudel coffee and churro coffee that has been brewing for 96 hours.
That sounds absolutely amazing. Where do you get churro coffee from?
The Coffee Shop of Horrors in Orlando.
Oh, okay. I've never been there, but I would like to.
It's in Montverde, so it's close to nothing.
Yes.
But yeah, the people there are fantastic. Their coffee is amazing. They have all sorts of amazing flavored coffees and teas. And if you go to their shop, they have coffee ice cream of their various flavors.
Don't they have an online?
Yeah, you can order online from them as well.
I had no idea. I am like pretty attached to the foxtail Mexican beans and
Ooh.
the what is it called? They have a it's a vanilla, I think it's a caramel vanilla cold brew. I'm not totally sure on that. I know that it is vanilla. I always just ask for vanilla and they know exactly what I want. But it is like my favorite cold brew in the universe. It's so
Ooh.
freaking good. It's like sweet for people who don't like any sweetness in their coffee. And I am one of those people who like does not want sugar anywhere near
I'm the
my
same way.
coffee. I'm like not like I just can't handle it. It
I'm
messes
black
with
coffee
the
all the way.
flavor. Yeah, black, no sweetener, like nothing.
Mhm.
Meanwhile, I always keep an assortment of flavored creamer in the refrigerator.
I respect your choices, but I will substitute my own, and my choices none, 0. Did the Zoom call slightly reshuffle?
It might have. I
I
just
think because the Vire camera wasn't turned off on the break,
Oh, right. Yeah.
so it like rearranged.
I forgot to turn it off. Bleh.
All right, well, are we ready to get back into the swing of things?
right before we
Yeah.
jump back into it, you either
Yeah.
need to move your mic a little closer, be a little closer to your mic, or turn up that gain a little bit.
Alrighty, how's that?
Oh, it's so much better.
Gotta not sit in my chair like the goblin I am.
I'm gonna force you to have good posture just for microphone audio.
Now everyone's gonna see me fidgeting with my fidget toy.
Mm-hmm. Everyone's like, what is he always looking down at? I bet you it's really detailed notes and amazing drawings.
It's a toy, so I can focus on something.
Mm-hmm. Man, gosh, with I'm just looking at like what's going on the various screens as well as what your conversation was just about, and I'm just like, man, somebody sponsor us. Somebody get out here.
Right?
We will do great. I have no worries about us like really showcasing.
I see. I've got like pretty picture frames, but we don't want the sponsor that those came from. Comes 5 years from working for an extremely homophobic company that we won't mention. They who
That
shall not
rhymes
be
with
named.
Bobby.
Yeah.
No more. Yeah, we're not gonna. No platforms for.
But I've got some
okay.
nice wigs from a certain really wonderful inclusive company that rhymes with Barda.
Oh my gosh!
Hey, man.
If I wanted to see how you would go about recoloring a wig, would I be able to go somewhere?
Would you be able
see
to
that?
watch me Copic marker dye a wig on my story on Instagram? Absolutely. I'll even tell you exactly how many parts of color to alcohol.
Sounds like I should be
Not
following...
the drinking kind, unless you want to really, 91% isopropyl alcohol.
Sounds like I should be following at Sanji's Closet as well as at Violet.
Hello?
Drunkle Ben and the Viking cosplay.
I've got it put in helloing over here in the
A baby
Doorway.
Zoom?
There
Look,
she
there was a
is.
wave.
She waved back.
Oh, she's coming.
Oh, Lord,
Oh,
she
Lord.
coming.
Oh Lord.
Oh, Lord, she coming. She is that size.
Oz, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Damn it! I should have just said
that
no.
sucks. I was under the impression that my mute worked, and it apparently does not on my headset. So
Oh no.
It's okay. I
It-
manually muted you a few times.
thank you.
Yeah.
I don't know if anybody else is looking at the Twitch stream, and it's just Twitch stream, and
Oh,
it's
Twitch
looking a little
stream.
weird. But it says it's like a big image for me. I don't know if that is accurate for anyone else.
Looks
Oh.
fine on my screen.
That's fine to you. Maybe.
Oh,
I'll just-
mine says your browser encountered an error while decoding the video, but I assume that probably has to do with the moment that Zoom froze for me
Oh, now it's fine.
earlier.
The error has to do with too little, not too much.
Just there's not enough.
Mm-hmm.
I can always be louder. I'm trying right now to split myself in half so that I can do double the work.
I was gonna say you're doing great. If there's one person who needs to be louder, it's actually the loudest person of us. That isn't me, which is Oz.
Okay.
I mean, you know,
No, that's fair.
right. So
I am a loud, one large loud.
it's where your voice sits that makes it so loud. I just have to use like tons of lung strength. That's why I played the tuba as a child.
Ooh.
You gotta
Good choice.
project your voice. We've been like, I've been talking so much more this last week since we've been in pre-planning,
Mm-hmm.
and like I've been like coughing and losing my voice, and I'm like, no, I don't have COVID. This is like teacher fatigue
Teacher
happening
training
right now.
Yeah,
You know, like I'm gonna have so much
Cubicles coming
once the school year actually starts and I have to talk all day for 8 hours. Not really, but still,
Yeah.
like talk to students.
I've had this
We're all
weird
virtual.
cough.
It's not as bad, but
I've had this weird cough for like 3 months, and people look at me funny every time I cough. But I do wear a mask, so
I'm just
I get less funny looks.
I'm constantly living that thing of like you cough and everyone looks at you and you're like, no, I don't have COVID. I just choked on my own spit.
That's an entire whole mood.
I can't.
See, I'm just in the place where I sneezed in my mask the other day.
Oh.
Tastes good, man.
It bad.
I have
Yum.
yet to sneeze in my mask, but I did I have multiple times. I've learned the lesson now, knock on wood, but I have multiple times like eaten a big like dinner with onions and garlic in it and then like walked around just being like, "Oh no."
I've had
Did
the
you
mask
see-
coffee breath.
I've had that.
Ooh,
I've had that.
I'm all about that. Like coffee breath wakes me up more, so I'm just like, yeah, let's capture this in, you know.
I did on Monday. So I hadn't realized this because, you know, so far my mask wearing has been like 10 minutes going into the store, no big deal. On Monday I was wearing a brand new mask and went outside at some point for training in it, and I always get real bad heat rash down here. I'm a northerner, so like walked outside, got heat rash from the heat. The heat rash reacted with this mask, and I had an allergic reaction. My face swelled up under the mask. Like I had like an All Might chin, and like my lips were swollen, and my nose was like, my airway got itchy and started to close. It's like I'm having an allergic reaction.
Oh no! And it was like just
to
that
my
one mask.
Yeah, I need
No.
to wash
No.
it.
Oh, man.
But I think it was like the heat rash combined with the mask.
May I
in
just
all
say,
honesty.
in a slightly similar vein, that my mustache is taken off. Like I don't know what it is. If like the little beads of sweat from being outside of my mask is like watering it, and it's like growing. But as a non-binary person, there is nothing more gender euphoric than realizing like I'm growing a mustache. And you're like, this is new. But it is definitely happening. I do think that there is some gardening happening due to the mask wearing, and also it's just summer, so like it would probably be happening anyway. But I'd like to think that my personal biodome is giving me
Thriving.
some fun and new things to.
Mhm.
Well,
Just
you
wait
know, if you ever
till it
want
gets
to,
Throwing
longer.
some moss in there.
Yeah.
if you ever want to nourish that mustache, Ben makes the best beard oil I've ever used.
Oh, really?
As somebody who knows nothing about beards, I've got some good mustache tips, believe it or not. Yeah.
I believe you. I
We
believe
can-
you. You have a fantastic mustache.
As someone who also owns a mustache, I hate masks.
Quite a dandy
Yeah,
lip caterpillar.
You get out of the masks and your mustache is just all in your mouth. It's just
Yeah.
It's in your mouth and it's wet and it's unpleasant.
Yep.
Unless those things sound pleasant, in which case.
If they don't sound pleasant, stay home.
Yeah, right. Thank
Yeah.
you.
I wish
Right.
I could.
Crushing
But
it.
that's just it. Like as someone who's being forced by the government to be in the classroom,
Not to make any
like-
political statements, but they're the worst.
it's yeah, and after a week, like I'm starting to get the mask knee.
Yeah.
Like
It's
I can
real.
feel it under there, and I'm just like, a whole bunch of the teachers at first were like, no, we're gonna get like cute masks, like fabric masks, and make our own. It'll be really fun, print masks that have like it's on the syllabus, printed on the mask. But then after like a week of having to wear them for 8 hours a day, we're like, is it too late to put in that order for face shields? Can we just please? It's hard to drink my coffee through the mask.
Yeah,
Oh,
you are doing the Lord's work. You're taking.
My
You are
one piece
unfortunately
of
in
mask
this
advice for when you have to do the 8-hour workday with the mask is if you get those that have the little sleeve that you're supposed to put a filter in, but instead you put scented tissues in.
Ooh.
Yeah.
That's smart.
Brain. That is galaxy brain right there.
Let me tell you right now, not my idea. I'm not that smart, but it is something I've taken advantage of. I've used lavender tissues.
Oh.
We had
That would put me to sleep.
that does sound delightful. We had an icebreaker
I'm
on
on
the
the clock,
first day back from on the first day of pre-planning.
Yeah.
Where all the new teachers on staff introduce each other and themselves, and we're all getting to know each other, and they're like, I'm curious, I'd like to poll other teachers and see how many schools are using the superhero theme for their teachers. Like, you guys are superheroes, and we're like, not because we want to be.
We're slaves to the system.
And they're like, so what, introduce yourself and your subject and then say which superhero you most identify with. And I was like, Hawks, because I'm also about to get burned. Thanks to the job that I've been thrown into.
Did anyone react? Did you get any reactions?
Galaxy brain.
A few other anime fans.
And you were just like,
on
nerds.
staff. Yeah.
Yes.
It's like, join me. Anime Club will meet once a week.
Oh, the joy of nerdy academia.
So many good anime discussions with teachers. Get into it deep.
Very good.
The pedagogy involved with like teaching anime. We're all big nerds.
Speaking of being big nerds.
Anyway.
Yes.
So we head east.
I know that reference.
Yeah, so you guys are at the town gates, and yeah, about to make your journey out west. It is early evening at this point from your talks and walks and everything else.
Thank you guys for dedicating yourselves to this cause. I know that it's not particularly the best, and in general, I am not very jazzed to be doing this. But if we get Poltroon back, then we get Poltroon back.
Orange.
Thank you, Ernst.
All right. So what do you guys do?
I'm back.
Welcome back.
Sorry, my internet pooped the bed for a second.
You're okay. So I guess unless there are any dissenters, that we would be heading towards the Vestland.
Nope.
Nope. Nope.
I'm sure that
Is
means
that
no,
no
dissent.
to heading towards Wasteland or no
No, we're not
to
moving.
no to dissenting?
No to
we're
dissenting.
sitting, and Bob just takes a sit in the middle of the road.
All right.
Okay.
So you guys start your journey off to Schleswig, or sorry, Wasteland. Which will go past Schleswig probably.
Schleswig. How do you say that?
Schleswig.
Schleswig.
Yeah.
Okay.
Orange's hometown.
Oh yeah. So we have to go through home.
Or around it, or whatever.
We have to meet the parents, the apples, and they're like, apples don't fall far from the tree, but orange.
Oranges do roll much better.
That's true. That's true. He is a rock and roller. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Vibes.
Joke's
Alrighty.
on all of you. Orange loves classical.
Orange is a real Tchaikovsky nut. You know what I
Oh,
mean?
which of Vivaldi's four seasons is his favorite?
Winter.
I'm more of a spring guy myself, but winter's a good choice.
I only like winter because it's like the theme for Chef's Table on Netflix. I love that show.
Good.
I love Chef's Table.
I didn't realize how much Zarko's been using this shirt to sleep on. This was another one of our shirts, and you said rock and roller, so I was like, oh, roll.
Yeah.
Ooh, nice.
I love that
Nice.
shirt.
That's
Rad.
beautiful.
Well, Zarko's black and white, right?
Yeah, you can't tell. I bet you can't even see it on the camera, but right here I'm looking at it and I'm like, oh my gosh.
I was about to say, it probably just looks like lines on the street, on the shirt.
Right.
The problem with having multicolored cats, though, is that like when you have a black surface, the white hair shows up. When you have a white surface, the black hair shows up.
My parents' dog, Oakley, is a big black and white dog, and it's always that. If I'm wearing a white shirt, it's always the black hair. If I'm wearing black shirt, it's always the... Did I say the same thing twice?
You might have.
Okay.
I don't.
Oakley's the best.
I love that dog. Anyway, so you guys continue on your journey. And for the first little bit, there's a road, and then it seems like the road just kind of ends, as if they didn't care to continue construction on it, or it's buried, or something like that. Many myriad of causes could lead to the road not being there. But you guys travel for the first few hours until nightfall without a problem.
Are we just traveling like with no road?
Yeah, for right now, you're just kind of sticking to the west. Schleswig is a little bit southwest of Galgenbeck, and then the wasteland is west past that.
So I assume that Gilbert would like know the general direction in which to go, since
Yeah.
he's kind of from here. So he'll like lead the charge. But he would like keep a lookout, and I assume everybody else would kind of keep a lookout for any of these like hooded figures, or for anyone like watching them. I think that Gilbert is hyper attuned to other passersby on the road.
Yeah. So, Gilbert, on your journeys, did you like pass through or around Schleswig, or did you just completely skirt it?
No, he would have gone probably immediately to Galgenbeck, because
Okay.
he was looking to like hide safety in numbers
Okay.
and not like pass through any smaller towns or anything.
Yeah, and rumors of that you've heard of Schleswig are not very pleasant.
In what way?
So of course, being from a town or from a kingdom not far past it, and Ernst can reinforce these rumors. The the king of Schleswig is very cruel and has kind of taken any sort of law into his own hands. If he doesn't like you, then he'll just throw you in jail indefinitely, and is quite often just goes into shops or establishments, takes what he wants, and leaves without any sort of payment.
He'll
And if
tweet
they try
about
to
you
say,
first, though.
yeah, um, and if the shopkeepers or people's homes or whatever try to say anything or stop him, then he'll usually just throw them in jail. Um, and he kind of only leaves the brothels alone in the town in terms of looting and arresting.
Okay. So that makes sense. As they travel, how far do we get into this journey before night falls proper? We're gonna have to rest.
So you guys travel for about 5 hours before the sun begins to set. Do you keep traveling into the night, or do you take up rest?
Are we close enough to somewhere, Orange? Are we close enough to somewhere that we could possibly rest? Since you're more
DM.
familiar with the area.
So, Ernst, you know that traveling straight to Schleswig from Galgenbeck is a 5-day journey, and going past that or around it would be longer to get to Wasteland. So here, just 5 hours into your first day of travel, you are kind of not near anything. There are the woods around you, providing cover.
Would they maybe be near a campsite that Orange would have used, like a good clearing or large sheltering tree or anything like that?
Let's see. So around in this area, the trees are pretty densely gathered. There's not so much of a clearing around you. Um, there are the fields right before this forest, which of course are more open, but there's not really a clearing or a singular large tree, but the trees are pretty close together in this wooded area.
With a multiple day journey, I don't see the value in traveling at night. We're going to need the energy.
Yeah, I think that we should probably rest and stay up for the night.
Orange agrees.
Is there any knowing that we're like in the general open, what phase of the moon is there for tonight?
Let's see here.
And are there any like he's looking for like the symbols, like he's looking for like the crescent moon and any like antlers and things like that would, be ominous during this searching time.
So it is a waning crescent moon tonight.
Okay.
And looking around, you don't really see too much of anything. There are trees and leaves all around. The trees are mostly withered from the cold. Some still bear their brown and orange leaves. But
Okay.
you don't see any symbols that stand out.
Okay. Did we want to take watches while we sleep?
First watch.
Orange can take second watch.
Take third.
I'll take fourth.
Split it up nice and even. What was I looking for? And throughout the night, it's peaceful, it's quiet. So everyone take off a day of rations and feed your respective pets.
I bought more mule rations, as I recall.
Yep.
Yes, you did.
Yeah, I bought enough to. Okay.
So, and as another morning rolls around, Vi, why don't you start us off with the misery roll?
Okay.
All the pressure.
All right. Oh, guys, help me pick a die. Are we going with the Mollymock die? Or
Yes.
are we going with the Mollymauk?
I don't know.
Mollymauk for sure.
Smart, like, will we be
That's
jinxing ourselves?
not a harbinger of death at all. Okay. Got a 4.
All right. So you guys wake up and finish
For
off your
everyone.
Yes.
All right, and yeah, things are looking fine today. You don't have another nightmarish vision of parts of the world collapsing.
Okay.
And you're
Or do we
off.
have those, just this time it doesn't sync up?
Well, I mean,
We
all
all
of you
have-
have your normal night terrors.
Yes. Normal sleep paralysis.
Yeah.
Crooked neck ladies and all of that fun stuff.
All right, and you guys set off onto the second day of the journey. So, what is the general plan? Gilbert, with you taking lead, are you skirting all the way around Schleswig from the direction from whence you came, or do you plan on kind of going into that town?
I think it's probably a good idea to like stop in Schleswig just so that we can like re-up because Gilbert's gonna be out of rations. I don't know about you guys.
All right.
Are you all larded up? Is there like enough
Can
lard?
always use more lard.
I think that we should probably stop for lard. Ernst, do you have any objections to stopping in this area?
Orange just grins really big, and he's like, Orange. He knows a place that they could stay for free.
Show us around town.
Orange.
Ernst.
All right, so into the second day of your journey on your way to Schleswig. Doo-doo-doo-doo. All right, so it's a little bit of a warmer day today. The sun is shining bright. It's not very overcast. It's still cold, but not as cold as it's been. As you guys continue onward, the day is quiet and uneventful. And the night rolls around again. The forest has thinned out a little bit. But unfortunately, Ernst, you still do not really recognize this forested area. It doesn't look as if there is a place where you once camped around here. You might have taken a different path. But you are able to find a cluster of trees to camp under.
Okay.
Very good.
Same watch order.
All right.
Sounds
Okay.
yeah, sounds good.
Who's rolling our misery?
Vi, how about you select who rolls the next misery?
Pass the
Okay, so
misery.
I see one nose goes. So oh, Ben, sorry. It's your turn.
I've been programmed since a young age to immediately touch my nose if I see that. Yeah, I just
Oh, buddy, what's that face for, Ben?
A very close and scary too.
Oh.
All right. So, who is taking first watch? All right. So, after your watch, you are sleeping. You just stir through the night as you have visions of just this deer, but without skin on its face, a skull floating above its neck, long horns that have just reached around all the way back behind it. Antlers, not horns. That's what deers have. And you can just feel it staring at you through the night. And just this dream just constantly has you tossing and turning. And as you try to look around to gain your senses in the dream, try to snap out of it, you look down and your hands are not that of a human, but they are cloven, they are hooves. Looking down at your feet, and they are as well. As you look around, you realize that what is staring at you is your own reflection in a lake. The water ripples and you wake up in a cold sweat, or looking around and realizing that your hands are back to normal.
I walk over to the nearest patch of grass,
Mhm.
and I just take a bite.
Sure tastes like grass.
Do I feel like it tastes like grass, or do I feel like it's delicious?
It sure tastes like grass.
All right, good. I spit it out and go back to bed.
Who is taking fourth watch? So as you are asleep prior to your watch, you are also just stirring awake throughout the entire night. Just visions of this shadow rising out of the ground, but the ground ripples like it's water. The grass kind of crumbles down into the water around it. The trees ripple as if they're made of water as well. The shadow rises out of this water. You cannot discern a shape from it, but its eyes glow yellow and lock eyes with you. And you just feel as if you can't move, almost as if you're being pulled towards this shadow. As you walk closer to it, or rather, as your body drifts closer towards this figure, the shadowy form of a hand reaches out and just grabs a hold of your face. You can feel yourself just sweating and not breathing, and your body just starts to shake and shift. You are pushed awake by whoever has third watch. You snap awake and are informed that it is your turn to take watch.
As Gilbert kind of pushes you awake, he's just like, "Are you all right?"
Oh,
Me too, bud.
Gorm goes and walks over to some grass and he eats it.
Sure tastes like grass.
Mm. The
Gilbert-
mule just silently acknowledges both of you.
Does Gilbert kind of see that happen? Like, is there any reason that he would like notice? Or
like you're settling down to like take this last few hours of rest. And you notice Gorm walk away, and you can see his silhouette from the fire as he just kind of grabs some grass out of the ground and chews into it.
that's not that weird. He just goes to bed.
It's coming from Gorm, after all.
Yeah.
All right, and so then it is the morning. You rolled a 2 on your misery die, and you keep traveling. At this point, the forest starts to thin out. So the trees start to wither and die. As you are getting closer, at this point, this terrain looks familiar to the wasteland from where you come, Gilbert, and Orange is starting to look a little bit more familiar as you are on your third day of travel.
Has it gotten to that point in the trip yet where the dog recognizes where they are?
Did you have Ernst the dog from Schleswig, or did you get him along the way? Or in Galgenbeck?
Ernst, the dog and the mule absolutely came from Schleswig.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
it might be a little bit far out for the dog, but for you guys, definitely the terrain is starting to look similar as the trees are starting to die and thin out. But the third day of travel is, fairly uneventful. Nothing really happens. Nothing really stands out. Just looking around as the trees around you start to wither away and die. Not as you're walking, just they start to thin out and not be as dense of a forest. Both Gilbert and Ernge are used to this terrain and this landscape, and it's normally loud with these sounds of birds, but it is oddly quiet today.
Are we seeing lots of remnants of what used to be loud birds?
Yeah, there are quite a few on the ground, but there are also lots of bird skeletons just picked clean. But other than that, nothing really happens during the day, and the night begins to fall.
It feels different in this direction. What do you think, Urge?
Ernst.
Urge. Is there a way that we could collect enough birds to eat a hot meal?
So let's see here.
Get some squab.
Yeah.
Don't let the pigeon know.
Gilbert's gonna walk around trying to find the juiciest, freshest, not buggiest birds and cook them.
Bugs are extra protein.
Mm-hmm.
That's true, but I worry about the botfly situation. Gilbert has some food allergy. I'm kidding. That's a good thing.
Is it bot free? I can't.
Is it bot free? I can't. I'm
I only eat organically dead birds.
yes. I only eat birds that died of
Is this
truly
dead-
natural
Is
causes.
this dead bird gluten free?
Yes, GF.
Is this
I mean,
is this non-GMO free range?
if I was asking a lot, I'd be like, is this dead bird vegetarian? Is it?
I bought a package of strawberries the other day that said gluten free, and I was like, oh
Are we there? Is that where we're
trouble.
at?
no, we are absolutely there.
That's trouble.
No.
So I forgot.
We
I
are certainly in a timeline.
I marked off. I forgot to be marking off my lard. So we have 2 full days, right?
Yes,
We've-
this is the
yes.
third day of travel.
Okay.
So yeah, looking around, and there are 4 birds that are like still intact and don't look like they're rotting. Crows and the like that seem like they could be used for consumption.
Okay, and there's 5 of us.
There are the 4 of you traveling, and then there are all the pets.
Oh, okay.
The
go-
dog and the rat would happily eat some bird.
That was
Is
not
there enough
very good.
vegetation around that the mule could eat instead of having a day of mule rations?
It's starting to get scarce around here. It was better in the forest behind you, but it's starting to thin out and get scarce, and a lot of the grass is dead.
Okay.
So should not to get into the semantics of inventory, but the last couple days were those the mule had plenty of food and didn't need rations?
Yeah, I'll say that.
Yay.
So, but here
Nice.
on out,
No
The mule
mule
is going
goes
to need
hungry when hanging
Well-
out with the Gallo kids.
Yes.
Orange has mule rations. He just has 2 more days than I initially thought of mule meal rations.
Mule meal.
Mule meal.
Mule meal.
Isn't that Thor's hammer?
Mule meal. Incredible.
but yeah, there are 4 birds that are able to be cooked up,
Okay.
which yeah, it would be enough for 4 people to have a decent day's meal if you spread it out and were able to clean it up enough and everything.
Okay. I think Gilbert's gonna try and exercise his right to cook.
All right.
And is gonna try and get them into a at least hot and edible state for everybody. And then if needed, he's gonna split a ration in half and kind of meal it up and hold it out for the mule so that he can have a snack.
Aw.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm gonna say make a toughness check with a difficulty rating of 12 per bird.
Per bird? Killing
Every
me
bird's
over
different.
here. Killing me. I got a 13 and a 15
Okay,
plus 1 to each, so that's fine.
nice.
Ooh, a natural 20 and a 7.
Okay, so you are able to prepare 3 of these birds to perfection.
All right.
And
It's
one
gonna
of
eat
them,
the shitty one. $10 to the jar.
so for the one that wasn't the for the 7,
Poor
it was
scrub.
once you start to defeather it and everything, it wasn't in as good of condition as you thought and is pretty much inedible.
Gilbert will eat a ration instead.
Okay.
Okay.
But everyone else has a good meal of bird throughout the day.
No, we're not gonna let it. We're not gonna let it go to waste.
And Gorm takes the 7 inedible bird.
Can you make a toughness check for me?
Uh-oh. I feel like Gorm's pretty tough, right?
We're about to find out. A 19.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
So you power through this this bird that has not entirely been cooked properly and whose skin and flesh and everything
Yeah.
is not in the best of shape.
Just
But
blood running down his.
but somehow you prevail through any sort of the diseases that could be carried by this bird.
And I
Gilbert
wash it down
is-
with some good ash.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Gilbert is very appreciative that you muscled through his terrible cooking.
No, it was great.
Thanks, bud. You know, yeah, I really appreciate it. sometimes.
Undercooked, but well seasoned.
Thank you. The ash really
It's,
makes a difference.
one
It's
of the
local
options on Grubhub for a local wing place.
Undercooked but well seasoned.
ash.
Undercooked specifically.
Like straight
Oh.
up for the chicken wings, it says, "How do you want your wings?" And it's like overcooked, well done, or undercooked.
Oh, don't be undercooking chicken. I'm vegetarian and
No.
I know that's not great.
Yeah.
Grubhub, why is this there?
I don't know. I've also seen
Raw.
people be like, "Wash your chicken." I'm like, "Get out of here. Get out of here."
You are that's one of the ways of handling the germs that can be on it, or it can also just be heat treated and be fine.
Mhm.
With washing chicken, you risk the splashing and getting everything else everywhere.
Yeah. Bad.
It's not the worst idea. It's not the best idea either.
It's an idea.
It's an idea.
That's like everything I come up with.
Yeah. Well done. Well done. All right.
You're muted, bud.
Gorm, you're up. Unless you want me to go again.
Papa needs a new pair of shoes.
We're going. Big money.
Yay!
Yeah. The
All
DM is
right.
like, "Oh."
Right. I don't want this to end like on your way to Wasteland. I was so worried that was going to happen.
I
But
see
you
why
are
you
only
took it out of
halfway
your
there.
hands.
Yeah, exactly. So then it's not my fault.
Mm-hmm.
Says the person who is like, we should play Mörk Borg.
And I regret nothing. I love this game.
Me too.
So you are on to the 4th day of your travel as the woods around you start to wither away and become just husks of trees. The grass crunches underneath your feet. The air is still and cold as you get farther into the wasteland and closer to Schleswig. But the air is quiet. Basically the only sound you hear are your footsteps crunching on the dead grass and broken branches beneath you.
Ernj is trying to get his pigeon to make bird noises for them. Just so it won't be quite so silent. But he's not good at imitating pigeon noises, so he's just like whispering, Ernj, Ernj, and the bird's like, "Oh, oh."
You know, it's hard to tell because it is a pigeon.
Thank you.
But the bird seems nervous as you are getting closer into wasteland. Also, Kim, you suddenly just got like really dark as if you lost light there.
No, I didn't actually lose light. I don't know. It's like sometimes if I just shift ever so slightly, my webcam
It tries to adjust to the backlight. Gotcha.
Yeah, and everything goes dark. Yeah.
Okay.
Vi crushed that pigeon noise. Do you have a nervous pigeon noise for us?
There you go. Because they tend to they don't brusque, but they like move their beak, like buck their beak. And I really like pigeons. Okay.
I love it. No, I'm so psyched about this.
So it's just like,
if you ever get to visit, I have like a book that's specifically about pigeons and the culture surrounding pigeons.
Please, I would like to read that.
When you visit.
I would like that very much. I love pigeons. I would like to own a pigeon as a pet, but I currently have a cat, and I will for many, many years. So after cat, maybe bird.
I mean, I say just go for the bird now. They'll get along. For sure.
I just like
pigeon sits on the cat's head as he walks around.
You know, I follow a tattoo artist that has a pet crow or raven. and
Metal.
and a hairless cat, like both.
That's pretty good.
Caw.
Like up to your mic.
I know I was trying to like put it up to the microphone so you could hear it, even though it was me talking. Caw.
Whoa, did your tattoo just go caw? Man, that's cool.
Whoa.
Technology, man.
Can you imagine the muscle training it takes to flex and have it say caw?
I can because I follow the Viking cosplay Hero Fit.
See, one of my tattoos just kind of rattles, just like rattle, 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 rattle.
Yeah, we need to get you
Rada,
to
rada,
tattoo
rada, rada.
dice so you can roll it with your bicep or something. I don't know enough about muscles.
Look
if
at
you
that.
Could tell. Oh
That's
my
a
gosh.
20.
Oh,
Everyone on
mine
this
all kind of died when I stopped framing, but it's not
There you
bad.
go.
It's
There you
not
go.
bad.
There you go.
There's
everyone
some
on this
definition
stream
there.
could just beat the heck out of me.
Alana's like, yeah.
See, Alon, you've got the reach and just being so
Right.
skinny that you turn sideways and just you miss.
Yeah.
See,
You've
it's like
got
Vi and I as twins, we had to be scrappy because
Mhm.
Yes.
you have to fight for dominance.
You have to make sure that they don't eat you in the womb, right?
Exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you know,
No
And-
getting resorbed.
Right.
I'm absolutely the stronger one because I kicked my twin out of the womb, and got to stay a little longer.
Yeah.
So
Heck yeah.
That's what's up. That's what's up. No, I'm just the oldest of 6. So gotta
Six,
keep the
that's-
peace.
That's too many.
I am Mexican. Like, I'm not lying about it.
Yeah, my dad's the youngest of 7. He's from Michigan.
Yeah, I am not having children because my father has repopulated the earth at this point.
God.
Is it that the 2 M's of North America? You're either Mexican or from Michigan. Those are
I
the
mean,
big families.
I think it's any place that starts with M. Like
Midwest.
my stepmom's from Minnesota, and she's one of 8, and her mom is one of 12.
That's too many.
She has like 150 first cousins.
Incredible. The family reunion energy. Speaking of family reunions.
Yeah, it's a quiet day, oddly quiet, and but other than that, uneventful. Yet again, more quiet than you two are used to, having traveled through here many days ago. So are you maintaining the same watch?
Yes.
Yes.
All right. And Alana, I guess if there's one more person to toss it back to before the floor opens up again.
Me. Oh no.
All right.
Okay, here we go.
Yes. Okay.
And it is a quiet night. Throughout your watches, you do not hear anything, unless any of you guys snore loudly. But you don't have any more unusual
Gorm
nightmares.
occasionally screams in his sleep, but
Oh no!
just every now and then. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my god. But no, there aren't any. Oh, it's outside of the normal nightmares. No particularly strange nightmares keeping you up. All right, and on to the 5th day. You all travel, and about halfway through the day, you see the spire of the Palace of Schleswig. Ernst, you know it well.
I feel like at this point the dog knows where they are.
Yeah. The
And
dog
just
is
like
getting
prancing
excited.
around, like excited dog
Yeah,
circles around
sure.
everybody, like its tail is up, and it's a very happy.
Like occasionally just looking back and jumping and just putting paws on you for a moment before continuing to run around the party. It's a happy little mutt.
And for Ernst, that's like here. For everyone else, I imagine it's like shoulders.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, by midday, you are able to get into Schleswig. The town is very quiet. Ernst, it is quite common for people to just remain holed up in their homes or their shops. A couple of people you see leaving shops and they put whatever they purchase underneath their arm, look around, and quickly hurry back to their homes. This isn't unusual for Schleswig. Yeah, Ernst, I do believe that you have some sort of business here.
So Ernj is just gonna be like very excited to be back home, and will just kind of take the lead and lead the group through the streets back home, and
Where's
lead the group. So that's gonna be at the brothel where he was born.
Okay. What are we
This
looking
is all
at?
making so much sense.
Please paint the picture.
Yeah, Kim, why don't you describe what this town district is like, or
So it has like it's one of the nicer brothels in Schleswig, and you walk in. There's a courtyard, and there's like a little stable with some other mules in it, and there's like a dog in the corner that looks absolutely like a slightly older version of Ernst's dog, and lots of beautiful people lounging around, entertaining their guests.
and as you enter this rather
Is this
nice
an
brothel,
entertaining sort of situation, like a very like bodies draped on bodies type of thing, or are we like is it like a drinking like?
Oh no, absolutely,
Wedding
bodies
club.
draped on bodies.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we're like in a proper brothel. All right. Picking some stuff up. Gilbert
But
is
it's the
uncomfortable.
It's the brothel with like the high end looks.
Yes, yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah.
so as you enter in the brothel, a woman behind the bar on the first floor, she kind of looks up and her eyes just brighten. And she just smiles, just this beaming smile. And Kim, do you want to describe what this woman looks like?
I'm gonna say like she's absolutely stunning. Extremely, extremely beautiful. Curvier on the curvier side. Like long reddish hair and very distinct freckles, I'm gonna say.
Okay.
Okay.
perfect.
Yeah.
And her eyes just beam. She smiles and then covers up her mouth. Just you can still see her smiling behind it, and it almost looks like she's about to cry. She comes out from around the bar, running up to Ernst, giving him a very large hug, and says, "Ulag, I never thought I'd see you here again."
And he just like lets out this big happy Ernst and wraps her in a bear hug that lifts her off the ground.
You all can see that this woman is just beaming and just tears rolling down her cheeks. She's just elated.
Is there anybody else in the bar that's like watching this happen? Like,
A few of the patrons just like turn and look confused. But upon hearing the very loud Ernst, a couple of the other women here just like come downstairs or come from a back room or stop tending to a table, anything like that, and see Ernst and run up and just give him this massive group hug.
so he's just like surrounded by ladies at this
Yeah.
time. Hell yeah. Absolutely.
I lean over to Gorm and go, "What the hell's an oolog?"
I'm pretty sure once a year you put it in your fireplace celebratorily.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah, it's the best thing I got for you.
Gilbert's gonna lean over and go, "Are we going to burn Ernst?"
What?
Not
No,
yet.
just the,
You said you put it on the fireplace.
Yeah, the oolog that he brought.
The Ulag. But I thought Ernst was the Ulag. She called him Ulag.
Was she calling him that?
I
Because
think.
maybe I thought maybe he brought one from the store, or maybe that's
Maybe.
a nickname.
Maybe he's
Maybe.
big like an oolog.
Maybe he
That-
was burnt once like a new log.
It's true. I mean, we don't really get to see much of his face behind that helmet. We'll find out.
I'm
So
sure
you
it'll all
put-
answer. It'll resolve itself, and then
It'll
we'll get
work
to
out.
eat rice pudding until one of us explodes or finds the hidden almond.
The little plastic baby.
So Ernst, you put the woman down, and with the back of her hand, she like caresses your face and she says, "I've missed you so much. What brings you back here? You know it's not safe for you to be here."
Ernst gestures to his friends. And just Ernst.
And the woman turns and she curtsies and says, "Oh, it's such a delight to meet you. Now, Kim, do you want to name her or do you want me to name her?"
Oh, you absolutely name everybody. I will give you happily pass that responsibility to you.
And so she curtsies and says, "My name is Vesna." And she looks up and wipes away
Vesna?
the Vesna, Vezna, and says, I'm so delighted that our child has friends."
Mom? That's your mom?
Ernst nods.
Gilbert like kind of flabbergastedly like does like one of his fancy boy like bows, and goes, "It's an honor to meet you. We've become very close to your son." And he like kind of respectfully bows out.
Gorm takes out one of his like
Mm,
ash
she's-
cans and he just kind of
yeah.
does a quick pop, and he just like,
Yeah, it's a pleasure meeting you.
And like
Scrum just waves.
She just seems so elated that she doesn't even really flinch at that. And she's like, "Please come in, have a seat, and I will get you all drinks."
Well, thank you so much
The
for your
patrons here
hospitality.
at the bar of the brothel just kind of look confused and go back to drinking or like receiving their dances or whatever.
Thank you so much for all of your hospitality. We really appreciate it. You said that it wasn't necessarily safe here. Is there anything that we have to worry about, Ernst?
The woman, Vesna, she like quietly says, the few places that the king treats well are the brothels, and unfortunately with Ulug's condition, the king would not be very pleased with our establishment." And she like chokes back tears and hard swallows and says, ever since the incident, we knew that it wouldn't be safe for him to stay around here."
Yeah, the Spanish Inquisition changed everything.
Ernst just wraps a big arm around her shoulders and like tucks her close.
And she like just rests her head on Orange's chest and wipes away her tears. "And even though I know that it's not safe for him, I hoped deep down in my heart that I would see him again."
Well, we're happy to bring him back. Unfortunately, we were just moving through town. Ernst has been really important to us, and to me, in my search for a friend of mine who unfortunately was kidnapped recently. Have you seen any hooded figures running through
As soon
town?
as you say my hooded friend, not my hooded friend, my friend who has been kidnapped, she just like her eyes just like widen and are watery, and she turns and just gives you this massive, warm, loving hug.
Okay. Touching. All right. Sure. And Gilbert kind of like apprehensively like pats her back.
And she just says, "Oh, I'm so sorry to hear that."
It's all right. Thank you very much. We just appreciate the hospitality for sure. Ernst has been very helpful.
Scrum leans over to Gilbert and whispers in his ear, "I think you owe her a silver for that."
In the most like limp wristed way possible, he like peels out like a little silver and like.
And she's like, no, please, as long as you are here, you are guests of our house.
Okay. Well,
Any friend of Ulug is a friend of ours.
thank you very much, ma'am.
And yeah, she pours all of you drinks.
Orange is absolutely making the rounds right now, just like every single employee here.
Yeah, some of them are younger and newer and don't recognize you, or you don't recognize them, but they still light up. They've heard stories about you, and they warmly embrace you. And of course, all of the women here that you know and recognize understand you perfectly.
Quick question. Is Gorm able to drink beer? Is it just water that causes reaction, or is it because beer's like mostly water? What's the
So it's basically anything that would actually hydrate you is kind of like poison to you.
right?
But beer is pretty much fine.
So
you're okay to drink anything that I drank when I'm picking on Oz and telling him that I'm hydrating.
So let me make sure I got this. Anything that's healthy for me is poison, but anything that would be poison for me, a la alcohol, is good.
Almost. It's still not hydrating.
Yes.
Basically, the only thing that will hydrate you is ash from a fire.
Awesome.
Or
perfect. Well, and Gorm grabs a beer and he spits out like some of his ash chaw thing that I've decided he does now. And,
just like basically dipping, but just balls of ash and
right,
soot.
exactly, just ash, and he puts them there so he can slowly like get the moisture that it's not actually any moisture in ash, but how it works for him. Yeah. So and he you know takes his beer and he's like, well.
The beer tastes incredible. It is so much better than the actually best ale in Galgenbeck. It's like instead of most of the ales in Galgenbeck that were like lagers or pilsners, this is like a really nice amber ale.
Oh, wonderful. Gilbert is inhaling them because they're free. And he's starting to run low on money because he keeps acting like a fancy boy. So he's just absolutely chugging.
And Vesna says, "How, I'm so sorry, but just out of fear, I must ask that I escort all of you to a room. If the king decides to stop by, I don't want anything to happen. I couldn't stand anything to happen to my dear sweet boy."
Which king? Hold on. Which king would stop by here?
Let me go back to the page here. The king here of Schleswig, 5 the 9th.
Okay. Well, is there anything that we can do to help protect your son? He's proven to be incredibly
just
sturdy, I would say. What do you
Orange
think?
from across the room is like,
all I ask is that you please just stay in the room, that we can get arranged for you really quickly here. The king has his own quarters here, and that's generally just where he immediately goes to. So if you stay in there, he shouldn't be any sort of a problem, and we can continue to bring you drinks and food and entertainment if you so wish.
It's fine by me. What do you think, guys?
Yeah.
Orange.
Kind of gives the thumbs up.
And yeah, she leads you to a room upstairs. It is a very beautiful room. There is a couch and a chair and a bed. It's very cozy. It is very well decorated. And she says this room hasn't been used in a couple of days, and we always make sure to clean it well. And oh my goodness, I'm so sorry. I was just so happy to see you, Lug, again. What are all of your names?
Oh,
Hi.
I'm Gilbert. Sorry, Scrum.
Scrum, that's me. Hi. And I pull out Bob. This is Bob. Bob, say hello. And Bob does a little head nod.
Gorm he's like in the he's in the room. He kind of goes and he's like, "Oh, right,
Gorm. Lawson. That's me. Glad Bob's using his real name.
I
And
trust
she,
this one.
Vesna curtsies again and says, "Well, I am honored to meet all of you, and we will bring you food and drink as you wish." And she kind of looks around Bala and Gilbert, if any of you need anything, just please come downstairs and just let us know. I'm sure that you have come quite a long way. If you need us to draw a bath up here, we'd be more than happy. Please, you are our honored guests.
Thank you so much for all of your hospitality. I mean, I don't want to take up any more than we need to. I think I'll let Ernst kind of lead the way on this one.
All right, well, we will have food brought up to you shortly. I'm so happy to meet all of you and to just gives Ernst a big hug and to see you again.
Ernst hugs her
scratches
back.
his back in the embrace.
Aw.
Has she left the room?
Yeah, she leaves the room.
Ernst, you got these sweet digs. What gives?
And Ernst just kind of shrugs and indicates that it wasn't safe for him to stay permanently. Ernst. He pets his dog, which has joined them with the other dog.
What? Why wasn't it safe to stay? I mean, she mentioned something about a condition. I'm just not entirely sure what happened. Why'd you have to leave this place? It seems like you were entirely set.
Ernst just points at his mouth and at his teeth. And then he goes over. Is this like a room that Ernst would have been like really intimately familiar with, or one that he would have used a lot before? Almost like his. Like, would it have some of his stuff in it?
No.
Or his mother's things?
I'm gonna say no. This is like one of the like guest rooms, and as Vesna said, it hasn't been used in a while.
Okay.
But no, this isn't like. Ernst would kind of just like sleep either in his mother's room or in like an unoccupied room. Stuff.
Okay. So Ernst will kind of, indicate that like they would need to get the full story from his mother, that she would be able to explain better, because he doesn't remember all that well what happened. He's just like, Ernst, petting his dog.
Okay, well, thank you for leading us here. This is going to be one of the best nights that I think we've ever had. I would love to take a bath. I think a bath sounds wonderful right about at this time.
All right. So yeah, in a couple of moments, one of the other women comes up with a warm meal for everyone, and you inform her that bath sounds lovely. She says that she will get that started right away.
Is there any way that we could send away for rations, or like any way that we could buy food here to like take with us? How many days do we have left to get to the wasteland? And Gilbert is like, there's nothing in the wasteland that we could possibly take. Everybody there is barely hanging on by a thread. So if we can stock up here, I think that's probably a good way to be.
So you estimate it. It'll be a couple of more days. You're not sure like how far into Wasteland you have to go, but a handful of days. And before the woman leaves to go and start the bath, she says, "Oh, I'm sure that we could send someone to get some rations for you for your journey. How many do you think you will need?
Do we want to get some lard? Do we want to re-up on lard?
Yes. Definitely.
How many days worth do you think we're going to need?
As much as we can carry.
Right. So maybe, is there any way that we could potentially order in bulk and get a small discount? And Gilbert is kind of like trying to look as dashing as possible at this working woman to get a good deal because he knows they're all broke.
She says, I'll see what I can do.
Orange kind of walks over and like wraps an arm around her shoulder and like points at Gorm and is like he only eats lard. It's Orange. And kind of explains like there are different tastes to her.
Lard. Glorm, which might as well be named Lard. Gorm
Lardson.
Yeah, Lardson. Gorm turns towards Orange, having heard the like inflection that indicates his name, and he just turns with this just sheen of beauty. His like the sunlight that's drifting in through the window catches his face perfectly, framing the gorgeous. And Gorm's like,
yeah, I think I've collected also some dirt from the road, so I'll probably also take a bath.
All right.
My pores are clogged. Haven't had any lard to just really clear them out.
Could really use like a mud bath situation, like a mask, like purifying, detoxifying sort of thing. If you have any, just anything that would help with that.
I will make sure to draw a lovely bath for you. Now, okay, I will see how many rations I can get, and I'll do my best to get a good deal on them. Will we be paying for this, or? No, I'm sorry, that came off so rude. I'm sure that that Vesna would have no problem with that, with us supporting Ulug's friends.
Gorm takes out his I think Gorm has 6 pieces of silver in his bag, and he's like, "Here."
She feebly smiles and says, "Thank you. Kind of fallen onto hard times here, and while we are happy to support you, we appreciate the small amount of help."
Gilbert will reach out and give another 10 silver.
Oh, bless your heart. Thank you so much.
Whenever somebody who works at a brothel says they've fallen on hard times, I never know if that's positive or negative.
I gotta go.
Oh my god.
And that's a stream, guys.
Orange kind of shoots a glare at Gorm. And he's Orange will absolutely, like, once night falls and the clientele at the brothel has slowed down a little bit, he's gonna go like muck out the stables and do some heavy lifting to help pay for the food.
So to talk about the bath for a moment, you hear like these old pipes in the building start to like shake and whir as presumably from somewhere else in the brothel water is being heated and moved up through there. And it smells lovely. There are rose petals in the water, and it is just a really nice, like beautifully prepared bath. Ernst, you know that this would have been like expensive at the brothel. And so Gilbert and Gorm take a very nice bath.
Are we bathing together? Is this
that's up to you guys.
Is this a two pickles in the jar?
I would like Orange will also join.
Okay.
In the bath.
Are all of us Geralt of Rivia-ing this?
Yeah, just full on, just
Yeah.
Sitting 5 feet
The
apart
water
in the
Gorm
bath.
quickly turns to soup. Like, I'm sure.
I was gonna
It's
say
a pretty
Gorm,
large
Gorm
bath.
probably removed some buckets because he doesn't know how to swim, and even though the bath isn't that big, he's just like a little nervous of it.
Gilbert, like, just absolutely, like, nude within seconds, like, just, like, slowly, like, lowering himself into this bath as it
Yeah.
looks like a Grecian, like, kind of
Steam as the
steam
water comes
house
to his body, yeah.
situation.
This would be a great outro for us to go on.
So yes, but I kind of want to end on another cliffhanger that won't take long at all.
Okay.
To railroad just a little bit.
You're fine.
So yeah, and then Ernge goes and does some of the heavy lifting in the stables and where the dog lives and everything like that. And so then the morning rolls back around. You guys have slept brilliantly. It's just been such a good night. So Kim, toss it over to someone else for the misery die.
Eeny, meeny, miny, mo. Catch a Gilbert by his toe. If he hollers, let him go. Eeny, meeny, miny, mo. Looks
Alright,
like it's bye.
We're rolling the clear die now. So if it, whatever. I'm scared. Got a 4.
All right.
Yay.
So
Thanks for the tip, Tim.
Tim, thank you so much
Tim.
for the $40 tip.
Thank you.
All right, so the morning is full of heartfelt goodbyes as you guys get ready to hit the road again. So you set out back west through Wasteland. The first day of travel it's quiet, eerily so. The trees seem more dead than usual.
How many rations did we get
Oh, right.
before leaving?
Gotta do the DM math. We're doing some DM math.
So the woman was able to bring back a total of 15 rations.
Of 15?
Yeah.
We gave her 15 silver.
Didn't you give her?
We gave her 16 silver.
Right.
silver.
Okay, my bad. I forgot
You're
how much you gave. Okay, so she said that she was able to barter a little bit and brought back 19 days of rations.
Nice. What's the lard situation? How much of those rations are lard?
Well, we can just divide 19 evenly by, oh no, uh-oh.
Uh-oh. And the
6 of those
the
rations are
aminals.
lard.
Okay.
So how about, and here's my bartering skills, 20 rations so we don't have to do any math and everybody just adds 5 to their inventory?
Nice.
Sure. She says that she was able to get some raw materials from the kitchen and throw it in as well.
What do you call lard but raw materials?
So they got some like
Raw
straight
materials.
up bacon lard now.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. It's not just, the
Math.
usual.
Okay.
So, and of course that was all retroactive, but it works. The day was very quiet. It seems more quiet than usual. It's so odd to be here in the Wasteland without any sounds of birds or anything like that. The trees are basically all but gone in this part of Wasteland. It's just arid landscape. And as the night falls again, do you maintain the same watch?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I would say so.
All right. Love when I roll a die for just things happening in the night and roll 2 ones in a row, which is good. That is way below the threshold for random things happening in the night. You guys sleep well through the night. No other odd nightmares. And yeah, you begin your. Oh, Vi, who do you toss the misery die to?
Gorm. It's gonna be a lot. I put my dice away. Nice.
All right.
Nice. Cool. Cool.
You guys travel through the next day. I've rolled so many ones on random things happening today. I think I've rolled like 7 ones today.
Better than you do it than we do.
Yeah,
Yeah.
be glad that I wasn't rolling the misery die. And the day is quiet. It's an oddly warm day yet again. Almost feeling not cold. And as the night begins to fall, through the moonlight, you see smoke rising a little bit to the south. It's not like the smoke that's been filling the air coming from the west. The smoke seems more recent.
Do you see that?
I do see that.
I bet there's lots of ash over there.
You could drink your heart out.
It doesn't seem like it's too far in the distance.
Maybe.
Do you want to go towards it?
I think maybe, just maybe, we should check that out next time on Borg stream.
Can I push you guys for 2 more minutes?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I thought
Yeah.
that was the cliffhanger you were.
Yeah,
trying
me
to
too.
do.
Almost.
Okay.
So you guys approach through as just this landscape is barren. As you approach, you see a fire not far in front of you. There is a gathering of about 20 people sitting around the flame. Someone, you can make out this form, and as you walk closer and closer, you can see more details of him. The moonlight being bright next to the fire. This man seems like he was at one point rather corpulent, but he is hidden under large robes, wears a crown over his head, and around his neck he has 2 mummified fingers. And as you approach, without much place to hide, walking towards his fire, the sound of crunching dead grass beneath your feet, this man looks up, his eyes go wide, and he says, "Gilbert?" And that's where we are going
God damn
to
it.
end the session.
Okay.
A good cliffhanger.
I see you.
Speaking of I see you, thank you so much, Tim, for the donation. That is going to the, remind me where we're donating tonight. What was it?
We are donating to the NAACP Bail Fund in support of Black Lives Matter.
NAACP fund, national fund. So we'll make sure that gets there. Any donations that you guys have for any of these games goes to whatever charities that we are streaming for on the day. We're so happy that you guys are adventuring with us and journeying with us. If you would like more Mörk Borg, which who wouldn't, be sure to follow at our Twitter stream at
Disease Save.
So that's stream. We're back next week. And
actually, no, we're not. Aren't Ben? You're gonna be out of town next week. Yeah,
I'm going to be in good old Hidden Night, North Carolina.
Sweet. I can guarantee you that some iteration of us doing something fun will happen next week. We'll figure out exactly what. We'll be sure to let you guys know through our various channels. What are those various channels, you ask, so that you can follow them and learn more? Well, let's find out by starting with Vi.
Hi, I am Violet Cosplay on Instagram and Twitter. You can follow me for lots of cosplay things and also cosplay prints going up literally tomorrow.
Whoa!
Vibes.
Yay!
Vi, throw it somewhere
I'm
else.
gonna toss it over to Sanji's Closet.
Hi, yeah, I'm Sanji's Closet on Instagram and will not share my Twitter because it is super not something I want the former students that follow me to find. So I'm Sanji's Closet on Instagram. Follow me for lots of cosplay shenanigans, and this coming school year, some educational resources with cosplay as the hook to get these kiddos learning from home to pay attention. Yay.
But it's going to be good information, not just for
Yeah.
kiddos at home, but also for you.
Working from home.
Viewer.
Or if you want to learn a little something about how to write.
All the above.
So,
Toss to someone else.
I'll pass it to Ben.
Oh no. I'm Drunkle Ben on literally every social media platform that you could possibly think of, except for Twitter, which I don't use.
Can I find you on MySpace?
You absolutely can. I think it's just Ben there.
Okay.
But yeah, you know what? We should all start using MySpace again. That's my decree for today. But you can follow me on Instagram. I occasionally post pictures and videos of me doing things. If you want to see what my vacation in North Carolina looks like, follow me on Instagram because I will be posting a lot of cool pictures of what we do there. And tonight in approximately 1 hour, I will be also live on twitch.tv/thatguysci88 and doing Nordic Nutrition Hour with my brother Sai. So that'll be exciting. We're making fondant potatoes, chicken, and steak. I don't know if we're doing the chicken and steak on stream, but we're definitely doing the fondant potatoes, which I am excited about because they are delicious and you should learn how to make them. I mean, if you want to drive to Brandon, sure.
Yeah.
Brandon's closer than you are.
Yeah. About that. But yeah, now I'm going to throw it up to Oz.
Hi everyone, I'm Oz. I'm the Viking Cosplay on Instagram and Twitter. I make cosplay and art and photography. I've recently taken up the endeavor of FaceTime photo shoots, which has been a lot of fun. To the person saying that I have a great mic setup, thank you. I used to run a recording studio out of my house, and then I stopped. So I've got good mics. I've been loving running this campaign for any award-winning Borg. Has been absolutely fantastic. This campaign is a blast. I'm terrified of it ending with some short rolls of ones. But it's been a blast. And in terms of the art and things that I make, I do take commissions. I love drawing D&D characters, anything sci-fi related. I've been drawing a lot of Weird West cowboys and things like that. And of course, I do FaceTime photo shoots for models, cosplayers, whatever you want. And as always, huge shout out to the lovely people here at Goblins and Growlers for hosting us week after week. Thank you guys for viewing and subscribing and sharing and donating. You guys are fantastic. And I'm going to give the mic over to Alon for one last sign off.
Oh, thank you, Oz. Thank you. That person messaging is Wes, and I hope to see everyone who's been messaging. Thank you guys so much for watching, for engaging with us. We're going to have something for sure next week. It won't be a campaign, or it won't be the Borg campaign at the very least, but we'll have something. And we'll whether that's just us all around engaging, maybe taking questions, or who knows? We'll figure that out. We'll be sure to get that information to you. Best way to get that information is to follow all these lovely people and @DiseaseSave on Twitter. Otherwise, we hope that you guys have an amazing rest of your weekend. Thank you so much for the donations. Thank you so much for watching. And little hearts. And thank you for hanging with us, the Gallows Boys.
Thank you so much for hanging out.
Cheers, y'all.
Thank
you
for
guys so much.
dropping in.
Hey, there you go. I think it works.